Naruto used the hydrogen style to achieve nuclear peace in the ninja world. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126, How to Use a Water Dragon Bomb. Obito's operation was so magnanimous. He perfectly displayed the temperament of the bathhouse god of war. Iki was stunned. What the hell? How come he still had some of Uchiha Madara's aura? Great fire Dan, great fire extinguish. He couldn't tell the difference. But Iki soon became worried. If Obito was like this, and he could still retain the double Kamu after the job. TSK. I dare not think about it. I guess Madara must be drooling, right? Obito solved half of the enemies. Iki's battle situation was also okay. It was no problem to solve this little kid who didn't even deserve a name. The key point was that he let one go to lead the way. If nothing unexpected happens, this fleeing Kirin ninja will happen to meet Kakashi. After Kakashi is done, there will be a bunch of pursuers following him. They come from the other side of the mountain and the other side of the sea. They are a group of cute Kirin. Looking at the Kirin running away in a panic, Iki's mouth curled slightly. There's no way. Who made him so good? Let's go, Obito. Let's go find Kakashi. Iki and Obito set out again. Although Obito didn't know what the connection was between chasing the Kirin and finding Kakashi, he still followed Iki and rushed forward. Listen to Iki. It must be true. It's decided. When Lord Obito becomes Hokage, Iki, you must be my aide. Then let Kakashi take care of the public toilets in Konoha. I don't know if Kakashi will experience a toilet manager crisis in the future. But now, he is really in a big crisis. The kind of life and death. He is surrounded by a group of mist-hiding ninjas. This time, even if he uses Iki's disguise, it will be useless. Because in front of him, there is a middle-aged one-eyed man with a pilot head. Half of the one-eyed dragon's eye is covered by a special eye patch, and the veins around it are bulging. He can see through his disguise at a glance. Did the Hyuga clan throw away the Byakugan? This is bad. Kakashi clenched his teeth and frowned, half in pain and half in anger. They were not far from the Konoha camp, but at this moment, such a group of bastards showed up. Kakashi bent his body, one hand on the copycat White Fang short knife behind him, seemingly ready to fight to the death. But actually thinking about how to escape, or how to send a signal to the Konoha camp. Theoretically, as long as he created a large enough movement, the reinforcement should arrive soon. Kakashi pondered the remaining items in his bag. The smoke bombs were used up, the detonating tags were used up, but there were still 2 shurikens, which was basically equivalent to nothing. The only way is to rob. Kakashi planned to rob a ninja tool bag, and then set off a few detonating tags, and explode them. Maybe someone would notice what was going on here. Although you know, that saying this may be useless, kid. The one-eyed dragon said in a dagger, your wounds may cause problems, if you don't treat them in time. I can guarantee that I won't hurt you, and I can also provide you with medical treatment. Of course, the premise is that you give up resistance. Standard lines of persuasion. Kakashi raised his eyebrows. You want to make me surrender with your mouth? Then you are a bit perfunctory, Mr. Thief. How about you organize your words again? I'm easy to talk to. Kakashi stood up straight, seemingly relieved from his ready posture, but in fact, he had already locked onto the enemy. But the one-eyed dragon seemed to see through his disguise. Not to mention that his Byakugan can see the flow of chakra. Kakashi's toes that were exerting force alone gave it away. Leave him alive. The one-eyed dragon gave the order, and several mist cloaks rushed towards Kakashi in an instant. Then come on. Warm reminder, to make it easier for everyone to choose books, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. Kakashi clenched his teeth and pulled out the short knife instantly, but at the same time his left arm swung violently. Lightning release. Shadow Raider. The Hatake swordsmanship focuses on attack. It must be as heavy as a mountain and as fast as lightning. Kakashi knows that his physical age limits his strength, but the power can be solved by ninjutsu and speed. Lord Orochimaru is worthy of being the cold master of the 3 ninjas. He proposed this conjecture in just one day and then completed the theory in a week. Then, Kakashi perfected and improved it on the battlefield for a whole year. Swordsmanship does not necessarily have to use a short knife to chop people. Lightning released swordsmanship is also possible. Kakashi's shadow rays looked like a whip. A snake was thrown out, but the destructive power of the lightning is not much less than that of a short knife. This is also because he has little chakra and his arm is injured. Otherwise he can swing it around. However, although the power is insufficient, Kakashi's goal has been achieved. A mist invisibility was electrocuted, and he came to the mist invisibility in an instant, and the short knife was swung, as if to kill the invisibility, but in fact it was just to sway, and then cut off the ninja tool bag of the mist invisibility. Then, Kakashi retreated madly. Signal bomb, signal bomb, signal bomb, there must be a signal bomb. Kakashi quickly opened his ninja tool bag, and what's more, there were detonating tags and signal bombs. In a flash, Kakashi threw the signal bomb to the ground, and thick smoke immediately rose up. Although it was a signal bomb covered by fog, it made no difference at this distance from the Konoha camp. Kakashi stopped retreating. He estimated that, as long as he could hold on for 10 minutes, Konoha's reinforcement would surely arrive. The enemy wants to keep me alive to threaten my father. This is my chance. 10 minutes, no problem. Kakashi took a deep breath. The situation was critical, but I had the advantage. Quick fight, quick decision. The one-eyed dragon obviously realized the seriousness of the problem and charged forward himself. Although he didn't know the soft fist that came with the one-eyed dragon's eyes, the one-eyed dragon's eyes could see through the one-eyed dragon's movements, so his taijutsu was more than enough. All the mist-hidden dragons rushed towards Kakashi again. Kakashi was not in a hurry. He bit the long sword with his teeth and began to form seals with both hands. Water style, super invincible water dragon bullet. Water dragon bullet? Super? Of course it was fake. The chakra left in Kakashi was not even enough for one water thousand Bonaviki. The one-eyed dragon has a sharp eye, so he naturally saw through the kid's plan, but Kiryu beside him didn't know that. As the son of that man, it's normal for him to be a little fierce, right? Water style, water array wall. Some idiots really fell for it. Not only did the water array wall fail to stop the so-called super water dragon bullet, but it stopped the steps of Kiryu. Kakashi almost laughed out loud, but his expression soon became serious again. The trick that Yingshu taught him was good, but it could only be used once. Now, the fact that his chakra was exhausted was also completely exposed. No, he can't escape anymore. The one-eyed dragon's face was livid, but he didn't have the anger of a villain, scolding his men crazily. Instead, he looked quite calm. This made Kakashi feel even more depressed. The one-eyed dragon began to make hand seals with his hands. It was a bit complicated. Kakashi estimated that there were more than 10 seals. Water dragon bullet. This is how you use it, kid. Watch out. Water style. Water dragon bullet. A water dragon spurted out of the one-eyed dragon's mouth. This time it was a real water dragon bullet. Kakashi was shocked and thought to himself, it's over, it's over, it's over, it's over. Why is he still so angry? He quickly threw the short knife to the ground and raised his hands high. Seeing this, he could only use his ultimate move. Don't. I surrender. I really surrender. Trust me. Yingshu also used this trick to delay time and save strength, so as not to embarrass others. But the one-eyed dragon obviously no longer trusted him. Too late. The water dragon rushed towards Kakashi directly. Kakashi didn't pretend on the spot. He frantically formed seals with both hands, trying to use the last chakra to force out a shot, to cut off the head in his heart. But before he could hold it out, "Don't panic if you meet it, Kakashi." A playful voice sounded, and a figure suddenly landed in front of Kakashi, facing the water dragon that was rushing towards him. Is that how you use water dragon bullets? Airplane head. Watch out. Water escape technique. Super invincible and powerful water dragon bullet. Warm reminder, the problem of logged-in users saving bookshelves across devices has been corrected. If it still cannot be saved, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first. Clear the cookies of the browser, log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. Chapter 127 Death Necklace. So terrifying. Actually, Iki and Obito arrived 5 minutes ago. But for the sake of showing off, the two of them hit it off and waited a bit. Iki also took the opportunity to look around. Well, there is no place that can cause a landslide. It is very safe. So this time, it seems that Iki is a god descending to earth. But in fact, it is just to provoke Kakashi's nerves to water dragon bullets collided in the air. They are both water dragon bullets, but a 3-year-old child can see the difference between the two techniques. One-eyed dragon, also known as King's water dragon bullet, is not bad. It can only be said to be average. But Ika's super invincible and powerful water dragon bullet is not following the usual way. My chakra is abundant and fine. Why should it be the same as yours? That water dragon was thick and big, and the key attack method was not to hit it, but to spin and sprint. It was only because Iki didn't use thunder release upwards, otherwise it would have really turned into a lightning water dragon drill. But it's not necessary to deal with just one AO at this moment. Kakashi looked at Iki, who appeared with a large scroll on his back, seeing the sky instantly destroy the opponent's technique, and then rushing directly towards the remaining mist hidden drill water dragon. He was completely confused. You know, my brain couldn't react. Too many thoughts popped up in my mind. From a moment of death to this Wavis table, Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief, but there were also question marks on his forehead. This guy, when did he come? No, this technique of his, what's the situation? It can also spin? What on earth has this guy learned in the past year or so? Why do I feel like I've worked so hard, but still haven't gotten past this guy? Oh, by the way, I wonder if that last guy Obito is here. Could he also want to run? This road is blocked, you mist-hide bastards. Obito's voice rang out, attracting Kakashi's attention. He wanted to know what Obito had become in the past year or so. Iki's super invincible water dragon bullet overwhelmed Ao's low profile water dragon bullet, and the remaining water went straight to the mist-hide's head. This group of mist-hide were not really stupid, and the impact was obviously not something that could be blocked by ninjutsu, so they immediately chose to retreat. And how could Obito, who was responsible for blocking the retreat, agree to that? The scroll behind him suddenly opened up, and after a burst of white smoke, 2 XXXXXL shurikens appeared in his hands. Fuma shurikens. Obito opened his left hand, and the 2 Fuma shurikens spun, and threw them out, while his hands quickly formed seals. Fire escape. Gamma fairy fire. Don't get me wrong, this has nothing to do with fairy arts. Obito is not worthy of it. The so-called Gamma Fairy Fire is simply Toad Oil plus Phoenix Fairy Fire. Several balls of oil fire spurted out of Obito's mouth, accurately hitting the 2 Fuma shurikens that were disintegrating. The Fuma shuriken split into 4, completely blocking all the retreat routes of the 6 mist hidden. With Water Dragon Diamond in front and Toad Fairy Fire Red behind, this wave of mist hidden is doomed. But if nothing unexpected happens, unexpectedly, it still appears. At this critical moment, 2 figures appeared at the same time. First, the figure with the highest presence, with a strange shape, taller than a Kimichi Choza, XXXXL body, with flowing orange hair, and 2 balls tied on the top of the head. Holding a strange weapon that looks like a fish and a knife, he aimed at the falling water dragon bullet of Iki, raised his arms, and chopped it violently. He actually chopped the water dragon bullet in half. Iki tilted his head, silently made a seal, and a shadow clone appeared, and began to treat Kakashi. Warm reminder, the problem of logged in users saving bookshelves across devices has been fixed. If you still cannot save, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the cookies of the browser, log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. He knew this guy, or rather, he knew this guy and the in his hand. That was a ninja named Sayohada. The identity of this XXXXXL strongman was also very clear, one of the first generation of 7 ninjas, Zigguration Puffer. He was very powerful, and was a ninja who could survive with the full opening of the 8 gates of Might. Zigguration Puffer split Yingshu's water dragon bullet with 1 bite, but at the same time he was a little shocked. This impact force, he had never seen it in Misty Hidden Point. At the same time, a figure appeared behind him. It was a guy with a scar on his face and a weird tattoo on his mouth. Yingshu didn't see his face clearly, but he recognized his identity from the weapon in his hand. Biwa Juzo, a man who took on the tail beast ball with a severed sword. As a guy who also survived the full opening of the 8 gates of mighty, Biwajuzo's brain is not good, but he has strength. He saw him swinging the severed sword, and Obito's Gamma Fairy Flower Red was knocked away by him, but several mist shadows were still affected, and fell to the ground. Ao was protected. At this point, 2 of the 7 ninjas have already appeared, and it seems that only 2 have appeared. Yingshu heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was not the late stage of the war. If all 7 of them had really arrived, his Sharingan would have been exposed. Zizzy, poo, HMM. Ping. With the sound of lightning, Yingshu's shadow clone dissipated. After Kakashi groaned, his body was kicked away. Fuck Konoha tornado. Yingshu's conditional reflex was to kick behind him with a strange force whip kick. But the man did not take it hard, but retreated immediately, holding a sword with lightning in both hands. It was the Black Shovel Rager. At this point, the 3 auspicious treasures were all there. Ikki's attack missed, but he ignored it, and immediately moved to Kakashi's side. Kakashi was holding his eye in pain, blood dripping down. Ikki's heartbeat began to speed up. Everything up to this point was within his expectations. But he seemed to have forgotten one thing. He was still wearing Tsuna's death necklace around his neck. He lost this gamble. Although he only lost half, only 3 of the 7 ninjas came, but they were the 3 lucky treasures with both strength and luck. The time traveling Kakashi had his left eye stabbed blind, and replaced it with Obito's Chunin gift. From then on he became a unit of chakra measurement. Now, let's not talk about anything else. First, Obito had scars on his face and hair, and then Kakashi's eye was blinded. Is it destined? I have to say that Tsunade's blessing is so terrifying. Be patient, Kakashi. Yingshu hurriedly began to treat, but it was too late. Kakashi's eye might have been blinded. The only thing he can do now is to stop the bleeding. Or, while Yingshu was performing medical ninjutsu, a bold idea suddenly came to his mind. Sharingan. He and Obito are both. But there is no need. If all the 7 ninjas are here, he can only go all out and expose his Sharingan. It may be dangerous, but he is confident that he will be the one standing in the end. There is no need for Kakashi to go through time and space. It is really a chakra measurement unit. Although he can't cure Kakashi's eyes, but there is still a white eye at the scene. Ikki's mind instantly became active, but he hasn't made any moves yet. Obito, on the other hand, has already entered the runaway mode. Warm reminder, the problem of logged-in users saving bookshelves across devices has been corrected. If it still cannot be saved, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the cookies of the browser, and then log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. Chapter 128 Obito's highlight moment. The moment Kakashi was attacked and chopped, Obito was already dominated by his blood. He stomped his feet on the ground, and then rushed towards Biwajuzang like a cannonball. Biwajuzang opened his mouth, revealing his saw-like teeth. He glanced at the crack that just appeared on the beheading sword, and his eyes suddenly became crazy. Then use your blood to repair my beheading sword. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Obito refused to interact and threw out a shuriken. This shuriken jutsu was not taught by Jiraiya. It has an extremely high accuracy and contains changes. If it is combined with fire style, it will be even more powerful. But Obito did not do so. After the Toad Fairy Claw was blocked, Obito roughly knew the strength of this guy. Being dominated by blood also depends on what blood. If it was the Takatori clan, I'm afraid that several bones would have been thrown out by now. And being dominated by the Uchiha bloodline will only trigger extremely cold fighting instincts. Cold perception, absolute operation. At this moment, Obito, with 3 Megatama spinning in his eyes, he is almost catching up with his original self before he turned evil. Ding ding ding. Biwajuzo blocked the shuriken without dodging at all. He was going to chop off the brat's head on. At this moment, Obito was not far from Biwajuzo. Ikki's shadow clone stared at Kurabuta Rega, but he found that this guy had no intention of intervening. As for the smaller body, he tried to launch ninjutsu in Obito's direction as a cover. Water style, hard vortex water. TSK, 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 you can't interrupt other people's fights, little brother. Zigwashin Puffer Demon had a physique of nearly 2 meters and 3 pounds, but he burst out with a speed that didn't match his size, and smashed Ikki directly with his sacral muscles. Yingshu frowned. If it was anyone else, he would have chosen to punch back with a powerful punch. But his opponent was a pufferfish with skinny missiles, which could absorb chakra. So Yingshu chose to retreat and dragged Kakashi away, while the shadow clones used hand seals to deal with it. Lightning release. Lightning. Z. Lightning release. Lightning strike. The black-haired Drager with long green hair, thick eyebrows and sharp teeth attacked directly and dispersed Yingshu's shadow clone, but did not move again. At this moment, Kakashi had not recovered yet, and it was equivalent to 1 against 3 on the field, and that was not counting King and the Fukurigumi. But Yingshu remained calm. With Ziggush and Pufferfish Demon and Blackhorn Drager here, Obito only had to face one of the ninja swordsmen. Of course, Obito was not the type to ignore everyone. When he got angry, he jumped with a kunai in hand, but adjusted his posture in midair and rushed towards Biwajuzo almost close to the beheading sword. Biwajuzo was not a Sidon either, and when his attack missed, he immediately kicked forward, while Obito, who had not yet landed, clapped his feet. Ninja technique. Lion's messy hair. When will this kid finish the seal? Question mark? Biwajuzo was about to dodge in an instant, but Obito used his hair to wrap around the handle of the severing sword, and the remaining hair suddenly turned into spikes, ready to stab. To be honest, the severing sword is a bit exaggerated, and the handle is too long. Biwajuzo had no choice but to let go temporarily, but Obito was unreasonable and shook his head and actually attacked with the severing sword. You bastard. Biwajuzo's eyes were cold. Not only was his weapon taken away, but he was also attacked with his own weapon, which was a great humiliation. I'll take your sword. Obito missed the target with his strike, but he didn't want to fight anymore. He immediately prepared to retreat and join Iki. Friendly reminder, the problem of saving bookshelves across devices for logged-in users has been corrected. If you still can't save, please remember the contents of the bookshelf, clear the cookies of your browser, log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. TSK. Before the winner is decided, you can't. You better behave yourself, little fat boy. The watermelon mountain pufferfish ghost is going to stop him again, but Iki is not used to it this time. So far, he hasn't figured out the routines of the 7 ninjas, and feels that these guys should have some quirks in them. Yingshu raised his 2 fingers and casually spit out a water thousand kimonos from his mouth. It looked a bit perfunctory, but Ziggush and Puffer Ghost was suddenly shocked. This 1,000 kimonos were aimed at the little kimonos. The fish muscle quickly protected his crotch, and the Ziggush and Puffer Ghost's expression was a bit gloomy. Because just now, another little ghost had already slipped past him with a beheaded sword. Little Green. In a hurry, the salamander puffer ghost could only call for his teammates. Hulia had already set off, but suddenly, a red-haired figure appeared in front of him. The figure had red hair without wind, and the joints of the 10 fingers on both hands were crackling, but his face was a bit blurry. Kuroko Reiga couldn't help but want to see it clearly, but soon he realized that it was an illusion. Kuroko Reiga instinctively disrupted his chakra and indeed recovered his clarity. But the 3 little ghosts had already gathered together, and they were holding his teammate's head-cutting weapon. That's right, it's Sachiko. Yingshu praised him. It really didn't matter whether he saw it or not. What made Yingshu most gratified was that Obito actually opened 3 Megatama. This wave, it's more stable. But Obito didn't show much arrogance, but looked at Kakashi with a complicated look. After holding it in for a long time, a word suddenly popped out of his mouth. You are such a wimp, Kakashi. Kakashi and Iki. I have a plan, guys. Iki lowered his voice. Kakashi lost an eye, so I can just take it back from that guy. I have learned how to transplant an eyeball, so I don't have to return it to Hinata. What do you think? He can give Kakashi a white eye without wasting too much mana, and he can also cooperate with him in his eye skills. Most importantly, he can hand over the reconnaissance missions to Kakashi in the future. Iki has always wanted to make up for his shortcomings over the past year. He really has no talent for chakra perception. What about these guys? They look quite confident. Kakashi was a little worried. These are the 7 ninjas. It's not a big problem. Iki said nonchalantly. At most you can get the eyes as soon as possible, and then support me. Iki finally stated his goal. For some reason, Aoki still doesn't have the amulet earring on his ear. Unless he destroys his eyes, it won't be a problem for Obito and Kakashi to get them back. Of course, with Obito here, Aoki probably won't be able to withstand an illusion. But this is not Ikki's focus. Although only 3 of the 7 ninjas came, they are at least the 3 lucky treasures. And Ikki has been holding it in for a year. Even if he can't use the Sharingan, he really wants to try the feeling of going all out. He had no choice before. Facing an enemy stronger than himself, he could only be the 6th. He was even forced to become a medical ninja ranked within the top 10 in the ninja world. But now, haha, he doesn't want to be timid anymore. Show your cards, stop pretending. I'm a fierce top laner. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129, Ninja Swordsman 3+4. Everyone proceeded as Ikki thought. Ao and the rest of the Kiraheim retreated. Obito's actions proved that this battle was not one they could participate in. Even though there were 2 brats on the opposite side, Ikki was nearly 1.8 meters tall, so they were not brats. They were very arrogant when they chased Kakashi, and they were really ferocious when they ran away. The 3 lucky treasures symbolically blocked Team 7. Ever since Obito snatched the beheading sword with a wave of operations, the feud has been formed. But this is exactly what Ikki wants. Ikki took the beheading sword from Obito and played with it provocatively, which made Biwajuo's eyes almost burst into fire. Without further ado, Ikki swung his sword and said, "Let's go." The shadow clones behind him dissipated, and Kakashi's treatment was declared over. Kakashi's back and legs no longer hurt, his arms are working fine, and even his chakra has recovered by more than half. Facts have proved that Kakashi, without the Sharingan, has enough mana, although not much. Ikki's medical soldier shadow clone consumed 1% of his chakra. Kakashi and Obito immediately rushed in the direction where Ao left. He had never concealed his intention, he was just chasing after someone. You're overthinking it. The huge body of the watermelon mountain puffer demon moved sideways, and the black spear Aga also attacked the 2. And Biwajuzo, who had no sword in his hand, rushed directly towards Ikki. At this moment, Yingshu's mind was clearer than ever before, and more excited. He also knew that his mentality was a little inflated. If the ninja world is regarded as a game, then he is now equivalent to entering the game more than 10 years in advance, and he has also opened 2 super plugins. The most important thing is that he has not been idle since he opened the plugin, and he has also worked hard to train the account. Now, the plugin is mature, and the level has also come up. Can he be worthy of himself if he doesn't go crazy? Therefore, Yingshu decided to expand a little more. Your opponent is me. Yingshu moved in an instant, and 2 pits were kicked out of his feet, and his figure came in front of the Zigguishan Puffer Demon. Oh. There was a flash of contempt in the eyes of Zigguishan Puffer Demon, and he swung his shin muscle towards Yingshu seemingly casually, looking silly. However, this guy's not a simple and honest person. Although he is big in size, and has a cute hairstyle, it is easy for people to have the prejudice that he is stupid. But this guy is the same kind of guy as Ono Masayoshi. He told the ghost fish in front of others that for the mission and for intelligence, he would not hesitate to sacrifice his companions. For Kirin. For Mizukage-sama. But he turned around and sold the intelligence that the ghost fish had worked so hard for, and had to kill his companions with great pain. Zigguishan Puffer Demon's knife seemed casual, but he had a lot of tricks in his mind. As long as the Sayhada touches this little guy who is 80 centimeters shorter than him, he can directly suck the little guy dry. This is also a common tactic used by the seemingly honest guy. Come on, I don't use much strength, fight me. And bang, the beheading sword in his hand was full, and the strange strength was directly increased to 80%. The beheading sword collided with the Sayhada, and the 2 ninja swords collided with each other, and made a sound of boulders hitting each other. Immediately afterwards, an incredible scene appeared. The Seihida screamed inhumanly at the moment of collision, and the body of the Zigguishan Buffer demon, which was 2 meters long and more than 3,000 pounds, was directly blown away by Yingshu's sword. Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and read background color in the upper right corner of the page. The beheading sword in Yingshu's hand also broke directly from the impact. Biwa Juzang, who was about to pick up the leak. What did I see? Question mark? That fat guy actually. No. My sword. Huliya, who attacked from another direction, was also confused. Just now, something seemed to fly in front of him. It seems that it was his teammate. But it doesn't matter. This guy hit it, and now he is powerless. I'll take your head. Lightning release. Thunder. Ha. Without saying anything, Yingshu threw the beheading sword in his hand as a dart at Kuroko Reiga. After throwing it, he did not forget to give Biwajuzo a hint. Be good, pick it up quickly, I'll kill you, you bastard. Biwajuzo's self-esteem was about to explode. But, his body was still very honest. Maybe this is the love of a sword ninja for a ninja sword. Biwajuzo directly rushed to his own beheading sword, and Kuroko Reiga's brood ninjutsu also stopped. With a precise chopping strike, the beheading sword flew into Biwajuzo's hand. At this point, the repaired beheading sword was returned to its original place. Biwajuzo felt very sad, but at least his beloved sword was back. This wave is not bad. Next time, as long as I kill this guy, it will not be a loss. Kuroko Reiga and Zigguishan Buffer Demon have also been readjusted. The 3 lucky treasures all had fierce looks on their faces, but looking at Yingshu's eyes, they all had a little caution. At this time, Kakashi and Obito had already chased them for a long time. Yingshu thought that it would not take too long to finish there, so he was pretending. He had to seize the opportunity to waste his strength. So Yingshu hooked his finger at the 3 people provocatively. You guys, come here, huh? The arrogance on Yingshu's face gradually solidified. Figures appeared one after another. Yingshu found that he couldn't call out the names of these guys, but judging from the swords in their hands, they should be the remaining 4 of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Why did it take so long? Juzo-san, your sword. HMPH. No, where's White Fang's son? Is the intelligence wrong? Where's that guy king? 7 guys with strange looks and strange weapons started talking like this. In the end, it was Black/Reiga who interrupted the little friends and pointed the half Reiga in his hand at Yingshu. Let's take this guy down first. He's probably a Konoha Jonin. Let's make a quick decision and then go after White Fang's son. Oh, that's right. Hurry up and capture White Fang's son. I want to avenge White Fang's knife on his son. Don't say so much. It's still very troublesome for White Fang and Orochimaru to join forces. Let's quickly find their common weakness. The 7 ninja swordsmen all looked at Yingshu. Yingshu with a blank expression. He looked down at the green death necklace on his neck. Good guy. I didn't take it seriously just now, but the 3 lucky treasures gathered all the teammates. However, the situation is not that bad. After Yingshu scanned these people, the experience and vision he gained from learning medical ninjutsu over the past year, plus the conversations with several people, gave him new information. White Fang seems to have fought with the 7 ninja swordsmen. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf to prevent you from finding the novel you are reading. Chapter 130, Battle with the 7 Ninjas, Part 1. Yingshu's expression gradually became strange, because he found that the newly arrived ninja swordsmen F4 all had some old wounds on their bodies. They were not old wounds, but they were definitely not incurred today. Not really. Map day with all 8 gates fully opened only kicked 4 to death. Although it may be that there was not enough time to kick them all to death. But White Fang, what? Yingshu suddenly thought of the suicide mist hidden team that attacked them on their way here. Could it be that the main person injured was White Fang? Yingshu raised his eyebrows. Looking at the situation this way, it does make sense. White Fang fought with the 7 ninja swordsmen, but in the end, neither side got the upper hand, so they will fight again another day. After White Fang and Orochimaru merged, the 7 ninja swordsmen felt that they were no match for them. Kakashi was both the son of White Fang and half disciple of Orochimaru, so naturally he had endless power over them. But what did Madara do here? He couldn't possibly control the 7 ninja swordsmen in his hands. If Obito was defeated and fell into their hands, not to mention half of his body, even his hair would probably be plucked out. Iki took a deep breath. No matter what, he now had 2 choices. First, run away and smash the death necklace around his neck. Although after he returned to Konoha, it could be said that he lent it to Obito and then accidentally lost it. But that was the choice Iki would have made a day ago. With 2 Magatama hanging in his eyes, Yingshu's chakra suddenly rose, and his black hair moved automatically without wind. No matter if he is the 6th brother or the god of war, at this moment, Yingshu only wants to fight. He wants to break the curse of Tsunade. He wants to strangle the throat of fate. Although the opponent is the 7 ninja swordsmen, an existence that cannot be completely destroyed even with all 8 gates. But so what? Yingshu is only 10 years old. He just wants to challenge his soft spot. Is he wrong? At this moment, the only thing is to fight. Yingshu bent down, and his body was ready to sprint for 100 meters. His left hand raised 2 fingers in front of him, and his right hand was under the armpit of his left arm, also with 2 fingers. Kaguya Otsutsuki brought chakra. Otsutsuki Indra invented the Sealing Jutsu. On the other hand, Iki has mastered all 3 of these things. I have already graduated. Why should I look at other people's faces? Oh. The owner of the explosive knife Fimo, Miri Shinpachi, said lightly, with interest flashing in his eyes. Young man, aren't you afraid? Do you know who are the people standing in front of you? This young man made Iki very happy. So his answer was also more friendly. I don't know them. But soon, you will all be dead. Whoosh. With 2 fingers under the creaky nest pressed, Iki's version of instant kill mode exploded. He seemed to be wrapped in a layer of rich chakra from head to toe, not the purple of the big pillar, nor the blue of the door. It was pitch black, just like Leo Liu's heart. Instant kill mode, Senju. The chakra in the body explodes, greatly improving the body's functions, including but not limited to super strength. It can be understood as the Senju chakra coat. Facing the 7 ninja swordsmen, Yingshu actually charged directly, and in just 0.63 seconds, he crossed a distance of 18.79 meters. The straight line instant body speed is more than 4 times that of an ordinary ninja, and he rushed directly in front of Miri Shinpachi. Aiku. Warm reminder, if you can't find it by searching the book title, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Yingshu kicked out directly, with such a fast speed and great force, that Miri Shinpachi didn't even react, and the whole person flew out on the spot. This is not over yet. Before Iki set off, he prepared a technique. It was not an ninjutsu, but an illusion. As mentioned, Iki's only weakness at the moment is chakra perception. Even his not so proficient physical skills are made up for by his super strength. So, as long as Iki knows the enemy's position, he basically has no weaknesses. Ninjutsu Darkness Walk. This is a medium and long range auxiliary illusion, used to deprive the opponent of his vision, and make it completely dark. And Iki can attack at will. His second target is a lion-headed man holding a scissor, who is 213 centimeters tall, with long arms and legs and wears a mask. His name is Kurishin Kishimaru. He is an assassin. As we all know, assassins are equal to Old Six, and they are also the type that Iki hates the most. So Old Six must die. But lightning flashed on his hands, and the high-frequency buzzing sound vaguely resembled the chirping of 1,000 birds. Iki clasped the fingertips of his right hand. This move is the power of the 1,000 hands, the Hell Penetration Hand, the Chidori Thrust. Kakashi's Chidori Reikiri was not developed, but was led astray by Orochimaru. But this did not affect Iki's research. The form and nature of lightning attribute chakra changed, and he had it before his 9th birthday. Be careful. He's going to attack. The owner of the Thunderblade, black-haired Thunderfang, stirred up the lightning on both swords, trying to lock onto Iki's position. He was the first to notice the characteristics of this illusion. Only his vision was deprived, and his other senses were completely unaffected, so he didn't fight against the illusion at the first time. And at this moment, Iki has already arrived in front of his target. The lion-headed Kurizen Kishimaru was making hand seals with both hands, trying to disrupt the chakra and get rid of the illusion. It has to be said that Tsunade gave Iki this forbidden technique, illusion, a little too late. He had only learned it for less than a week, and even with the support of the Sharingan, he could only master it. Kurizen Kishimaru finally broke the illusion before Iki was hit. It was not too late, and his reaction speed was also very fast. He did not try to dodge, which would have been too late. The suturing knife in his hand stabbed directly at Yingshu. Many to one, the advantage has always been with the 7 ninja swordsmen. Kurizen Kishimaru is not stupid. Even if he exchanges injuries for injuries, he is not the one who suffers. But he obviously thought too much. Yingshu twisted his body forcefully in midair, and his kinetic energy and inertia were only slightly reduced. The Chidori in his right hand faced Kurizen Kishimaru directly, but his left hand simply held the knife in his hand. At the same time, the strange power was launched, and the chakra attached to the palm directly pulled Kurizen Kishimaru over. Buzz. The buzzing sound was loud. Puff. Iki's white arm went in, and his red arm came out. Including Miri Shinpachi, who hadn't recovered yet, he had killed both of them in less than 5 seconds. And finally, the time for the dark walk was over. 4 seconds. The enemy's vision was deprived for 4 seconds in close combat. The effect was not bad. But Iki didn't use it again directly. The reason was that, if the illusion that was forcibly lifted was used repeatedly in a short period of time, the person being cast would develop a certain mental resistance. Iki prepared to switch tactics. The illusion dark walk was just a cooldown. Iki could still try the physical dark walk. Go to hell. Biwajuzo rushed towards Iki with his half-beheading knife, which now looked like a large kitchen knife. Iki grinned. 20 smoke bombs exploded at his feet at the same time. Long time no see. Konoha's 6th brother, transform. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Chapter 131, Battle with the 7 Ninjas, Part 2. The smoke covered Ika's handsome face, but the scarlet eyes seemed to have always been there. 2 Magatama, in fact, is not that strong. Obito even has 3 Magatama. But before reaching the manger key, Iki felt that these things were nothing. It's nothing more than increasing his already very good chakra manipulation, making it smoother, or taijutsu, more exquisite, cooler, and able to show off his skills. But he is so strong, wouldn't it be better for him to defeat 10 with one force? Iki still prefers to use ninjutsu. For example, now, the self-destructing shadow clones are finally useful. Don't worry about them for now. This guy's not right. Be careful. There are 5 of us, and he is only 1. Catch him before White Fang and Orochimaru come. The voices of the 7 ninja swordsmen were heard outside the smoke. Yingshu listened to the sound and determined the position. It seemed that he was surrounded. 5 to 1. Yingshu narrowed his eyes. It felt like something terrible had been triggered. Yes. Yingshu formed seals with both hands, and the next second, Yingshu rushed out of the smoke one after another. Yingshu and his friends formed groups of 5 and 5 and directly passed through the encirclement of the 5 ninja swordsmen. They formed seals with their hands one by one, and in a short time, they actually completed the counter encirclement. Since you want to fight 5 to 1, don't blame me for being ruthless. Yingshu and his friends roared like a middle school student. At this moment, Yingshu was secretly happy. Was this how he felt when Madara bullied others? He couldn't use Susanoo, and he didn't have a would escape clone. The key is that he didn't use that method either. The moment Yingshu threw down the smoke bomb, he originally wanted to use the self-destructing shadow clone to resolve the battle. But now, he has other ideas. It was already in his mind a year ago, but he never used this idea in order to keep a low profile. Ninjutsu. 5 escape. Great linking technique. Lightning and water, wind and fire, water and wind, lightning and fire, fire and earth, earth and water, water and. Every torrent of ninjutsu that Iki unleashed was a combination of ninjutsu of 2 attributes, starting with a combination ninjutsu. A combination ninjutsu composed of a combination ninjutsu. If Iki hadn't had time to think, the name would have been more than 50 characters long. The torrent of ninjutsu rushed directly toward the 5 ninja swordsmen, like a flood that broke through a dam, and it was unstoppable. Even if there were a full complement of ninja swordsmen standing in the center, even if there was a Susanoo giant standing in the center, what could it do? This is ninjutsu. This is chakra suppression. The shadow clones bombarded crazily. Yingshu's body was watching from a distance, sitting firmly on the fishing platform. He did not see any signs of resistance. None at all. The whole process was one-sided like a landslide, which made Yingshu realize his current strength and what level he is in the ninja world. In a low-key state, it is above average. In a pretentious state, it is above average. In full fire mode, no one will submit. Well, if you meet a cage level, maybe you have to think about it. Matt Day opened the 8 gates, and 3 of the 7 ninja swordsmen escaped. Now it seems, the reason they can escape should be that Matt Day did not have enough time, right? Yingshu sighed. I'm not lamenting how strong I am, but lamenting that the so-called 7 ninja swordsmen are really a bit weak. They are all flashy, and look fierce and abnormal, but in fact they are nothing. Even Uchiha can show off his skills. So here comes the question. Among the 2nd generation ninja swordsmen in the future, there is a guy called Zabuza. Why can he fight Kakashi to a draw? Are they really 50-50? I'm strong when the enemy is strong, and I'm weak when the enemy is weak. Hey, Iki. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. This guy. How to deal with it. Iki hasn't finished yet, but Obito and Kakashi have already finished it. They are dragging a guy over here. Iki raised his eyebrows, so Kakashi's eyes. Are you going to charge? Bring it here. Iki shouted. Let me. Huh. Suddenly, the difference from the ankle startled Iki. It was wet and sticky. It was liquid, but it felt like an octopus tentacle. Yingshu just wanted to look down. He didn't have the psychic slug fairy, did he? But this time he looked down. It was terrible. Not because he saw something, but because he couldn't look down at all. This feeling of being able to sense the surroundings, but unable to control his body made Yingshu's heart beat faster. Illusion? Ghost wall technique? What the hell? He couldn't even mobilize his chakra now. But soon, when the wet thing surged up, it wrapped his whole body. Yingshu roughly knew what was going on with him. It was doomed. Yingshu's heart skipped a beat. He suddenly realized, I seem to have been wrong from the very beginning. Madara's target might have been Obito at one time. After all, the more stupid he looks now, the more violent he will be after his emotional breakdown. Darkening is 3 times stronger, but it is not suitable for everyone. At the critical moment, his Sharingan was also exposed. Iki realized it later. If he were Madara, he would also choose the better version of himself. So the target was me from the beginning? Question mark? Iki's heart was pounding, and at the same time he was holding back his strength. He wanted to break free from the ultimate bondage. The ultimate bondage is not unsolvable. I just need to burst out enough chakra. No. I need to burst out a stronger spiritual power. Come on, Iki. You can do it. Yingshu. Yingshu encouraged himself frantically, and the only thing he could do now was to use the Sharingan with all his strength. Mental power, translated into the ninja language, is an escape. He has an advantage in this aspect. With the accumulation of one day, plus the current extremely anxious state, maybe he can opened. Feeling the sudden surge in the power of his eyes, Yingshu was delighted. He didn't expect it to work. The soul of 2 lives, plus 1 day of accumulated chakra. 2 Magatama and 3 Magatama, it should be a matter of course. And now in this extremely anxious situation, it opened. At this moment, Iki briefly gained control of his body. He could mobilize chakra. What should I do? How can I get rid of this thing? Question mark? Iki's mind was spinning wildly. Ninjutsu, seemingly a weakling, was actually always underestimated. It was because of his strong adaptability. Madara asked Ninjutsu to catch him, and he must have made full preparations. Ninjutsu has the attribute of wood release. Iki tried lightning release to shock, fire release to burn, and wind release to cut. But it was useless. He could feel the control of his body being taken away again, and the speed was extremely fast. Damn it. Yingshu felt cold in his heart. Is this going to be a disaster? At the last second, when his body was completely controlled again, Yingshu suddenly figured it out. He formed seals with both hands, used all his chakra, especially Yang Escape, and left a shadow clone that could hold on for as long as possible, since we can't avoid the darkness. Then let the storm come even harder. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title by searching, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Chapter 132, It's Just You and Uchiha Madara. Yingshu felt magical at the moment. There was a feeling similar to being furious, but the thoughts were not diffused. Later, his shadow clones knew it. He should have considered how to fight wits with Madarato. But now, his mind was stiff, and he couldn't think of anything. He could only feel that his body seemed to be constantly moving forward at a very fast speed, and the overall feeling was sitting on a high-speed train and furious. Gradually, Yingshu felt that his thoughts began to recover, but the control of his body was still not in his hands. However, it is worth mentioning that he stopped moving forward. He was stunned and stopped. Yingshu couldn't move, but he heard a conversation. "I'm here. Madara. I'm so tired." "Did you bring him here? Really? I spent so much effort and almost let him get away. By the way, Madara, he's already 3 Megatama, and his eyes are the same as yours. Give him to me, and don't show up before I'm done." Well, what a pity. I just felt the urge to poop, and that person was killed by him. So cruel. Iki gradually regained control of his body, and his mind worked quickly. So the Jizoku is hiding in that lion head? So the battle between the Jizoku and the 7 ninjas is also part of Madara's plan? How long has he been targeting me? What should I do now? How is he going to trick me? I can't have a forbidden spell in my body now. As a man who has seen the finale, Iki knows all about Madara's plan. The only thing that makes him nervous is the forbidden spell that controls Obito and Rin. It is located in the heart, and it will not disappear until it is dead. It is really tricky. Apart from this, Iki is also evaluating the possibility of his own actions. Don't be afraid of Madara. A shadow clone will blow up his oxygen tube, and the game is over. Just be careful of Ju. It's really difficult, and there are forced hackers, but it's not a big problem. Since he is here, will he be scared to death? So far, he has never used his ultimate move. After learning from Tsunade for a year, he didn't really become a medical ninja. He's super brave now. Now that you're awake, don't pretend to be asleep. Your chakra fluctuations are too obvious, young Uchiha. Just when Iki was daydreaming, Madara's old voice rang out. This made Iki stunned for a moment. He wanted to recover some chakra, and then suddenly used a set of instant body plus 1000 hands hell penetration hands Chidori thrust. This is his fastest attacking technique at the moment. But after being messed up by Madara, Iki sat up obediently and looked up. He saw Madara, who was so old that he seemed to be dying, sitting on a stone chair full of pipes. It felt like the old man was much younger than him. After that, Iki met Madara's eyes. The two looked at each other, and Iki was shocked. Madara's eyes were very calm, so calm that there was no emotion at all, but Iki was stunned and saw a purgatory scene like Shurafield in Madara's eyes. This is not an illusion, it is simply momentum, the momentum known as the Shura of the ninja world. Isn't it worthy of the existence that leads the entire coalition to dance after resurrection? Iki said silently in his heart. Madara's existence is basically the ceiling of combat power. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. But that is the version of the reincarnation of the Earth, or the 6 paths version after the reincarnation of the reincarnation. Now Madara. Iki glanced at the pipe behind Madara. He was ready to start. Good eyes, but the intention is too obvious, kid. Madara spoke again. Iki only then noticed that Madara called him. How to say? It feels like he is imitating Sarutobi Hiruzen, but he imitated the skin, so he is not the same. I still like your rebellious look, Iki complained in his heart. But even though he complained, Iki still temporarily lifted the instant kill state. Although the time was not enough, the shadow clone still consumed most of his chakra. For the sake of safety, Iki prepared to speak first. Let's see what Madara says first. Aren't you curious about everything here? Seeing that Iki was hesitant to speak, Madara did not think that Iki was dumb, but continued to speak. Iki responded with silence. Chakra has recovered 30%, and the probability of killing the tube in seconds is more than half. You don't have to be too alert, kid. Madara said, and the three Magatama in his eyes lit up. You and I have the same blood, and a similar fate. That's why you came here to see me. Yingshu continued to remain silent, and then began to simulate tactics. Charge, cut the pipe, and then use the shadow clone to clear the way, and use earth escape plus hydrogen escape to blast all the way up. The intention is too obvious. Then work harder. We all have three Magatama. Who is afraid of who? Madara was also silent. Looking at this wooden young man, he now seriously considered whether this child is dumb. Or maybe he was scared silly. Don't say. This child is really similar to that man. Same hairstyle. Same. So, who are you? Yingshu finally spoke. Time was too tight, and the chakra only recovered 0.1%, but Yingshu didn't plan to waste any more time. The one in front of him was Uchiha Madara. His combat power had decreased, but he was old and cunning, and I don't know how he was going to fool him. So Yingshu was ready to strike first. Who am I? Madara exhaled. Still, he is not a mute. You should have seen me. Even though you were abandoned and didn't grow up in Uchiha, you should have heard of my name. I'm Uchiha. I haven't seen you, Grandpa. This is the first time we meet. Yingshu interrupted in time. Madara was silent for a moment. I am Uchiha. I haven't heard of you either, Grandpa. The oldest person I know is a Hokage. Iwagakure does have a little old man, but I heard that he is a dwarf. Iki interrupted again. Kid. Madara stood up. He was a little impatient. My name is Uchiha Madara. You're. As soon as the voice fell, a flash of lightning suddenly lit up. Your name is Uchiha Madara. Iki interrupted Madara again, but this time he not only used his mouth, he also did it with his body. Thousand Hands Hell Penetration Chidori Stab. This move combines the extraordinary strength of the Thousand Hands and the precise chakra manipulation of the Uchiha Sharingan. I just want to ask you if you are afraid or not. However, what responded to Iki was Madara's calm voice. Also, a light blue skeleton. Susanoo. Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. Chapter 133. Solution. Give me version 3.0. Bang. Z. HMM. When the invincible Chidori thrust touched the Susanoo, Iki was shocked at the moment. 3 Magatama can also open Susanoo. And it's so hard. This was Iki's first thought. His first thought was, when can I open the Gundam? Iki retreated, his hands shaking a little. He was not angry, but in pain. 4 of the 5 fingers on his right hand were broken, and only the little finger was not affected. This Gundam is really hard. But just breaking a few fingers is naturally a piece of cake for Iki. He looked directly at Madara, clenched his left hand into his right hand. Chakra surged and pulled forward. When he was done, bang, the fingers are revived. Even though it hurt like hell, Iki didn't lose this time. Oh, medical ninjutsu? Madara's tone was a little playful, but his eyes were a little hopeful. Why would a dignified Uchiha learn medical ninjutsu? Only the enemy would be injured. But that man's healing with no seals really caused him a lot of trouble. This kid and that guy. Don't say it, they are really a bit similar. Don't be surprised. Iki moved his right hand, that was revived with full blood. I'm still a medical nin. The kind that can't be killed. Iki was also very tough, but he was actually analyzing Madara's strength. He can still use Susanoo at the age of 70 or 80, although it is still the first stage, but he really doesn't want to. Madara now is not in that Uchiha reincarnation mode. He doesn't even have his own eyes. This rules out the possibility that he is the reincarnation of Jiraiya, so he can open Susanoo with 3 Magatama like Jiraiya. After all, the 3 Magatama in Madara's eyes now are definitely not his own. So, transcription seal. Iki thought of a possibility. Susanoo is a jutsu after all. In the Battle of the Valley of the End, Madara used the transcription seal. to sealize energy in his right eye, which allowed him to come back to life after the war. In the Battle of the Uchiha brothers, Itachi also used this technique to give Obito a big gift package of Amaterasu. Iki felt that Madara's Susanoo at this moment was most likely prepared in advance. The restriction that Iki had been on guard against was probably also part of Madara's advance preparation. Madara's plan was far-reaching. It would be abnormal to say that the original body had no preparation after giving the eye to Nagato. Moreover, even Nagato, who had the physique of a sage, probably couldn't withstand the complete Rinnegan. It was reasonable to consume some chakra. Iki himself also had the physique of a sage. He knew exactly how much chakra he had when he was a child. This thing had to grow slowly. Adult Obito still had the white zetsu on his body, and he could barely withstand one. Then the problem came. The Susanoo prepared in advance could be more than just the first stage, and it was also possible that it could be a complete form. No matter how brave Iki was, he believed that he could not be the opponent of a complete Susanoo now. But this chakra transfer seal, there should be a limit, right? Iki's heart began to beat faster. Since it's a war of attrition, then there's hope. With these eyes, you're not suitable to be a medical ninja, kid. Madara's voice was still playful. Oh, forgot. Konoha doesn't know your identity yet? Madara was tempting something. If it was someone else, they would probably be silent for a few seconds. As an Uchiha, he dared not show his eyes, and he was in Konoha, but was on guard against Konoha. It was so sad, no matter how he heard it. But unfortunately, the one standing in front of Madara was Iki. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. A great woman once said the rules for medical ninjas. Yingshu clapped his hands, and his black hair moved without wind. First, medical ninjas must never give up treatment before their team members die. The triangular mark between Yingshu's eyebrows began to spread. Second, medical ninjas must never stand at the forefront of the battle. Black lines appeared on Yingshu's face and began to spread to his body. Third, medical ninjas must never die before any team member in the team. These are the three major rules for medical ninjas. Yingshu's body was covered with black lines, even on his fingers. Madara narrowed his eyes. He could feel the sudden surge of chakra from this kid. At this moment, Iki held a scroll, put his hands together, and had a tattooed look on his face. Madara's old body, that blood, gradually boiled. There is a fourth point. Only medical ninjas who are proficient in ninjutsu, creation and regeneration, and the 100 healings technique are allowed to break all the above rules. So, Bankei, release. Yin seal, release. Black chakra rippled around Iki's body, like a layer of outer clothing, and Iki's hair was about to explode. At this moment, he was full of fighting spirit. He endured humiliation and practiced the technique for a year. Wasn't it for this moment? Yin seal is not only for women to practice. Iki, whose chakra is so fine that it's hairy, not only has he learned it, but he's also saved it for a year. But at this time, Hashimala, Bantu roared, almost scaring Iki. This is the Yin seal face, not the sage face. But the atmosphere has reached this point. Ma. Iki roared back directly and started charging at the same time. The pupil power on Susanoo increased again. Armor appeared on the bones, and weapons appeared in the hands of this half-giant. The second stage of Susanoo. Iki couldn't handle the first stage of Susanoo, but that was in his normal mode. Now he is in Superman mode. It's still Chidori thrust. Yingshu opened the 3 Megatama, and the lightning chakra in his hand seemed to be under control. But this time, Yingshu did not clench his fingers, but directly raised his fist. Although he did not know the lightning chakra mode, he was not slow with the speed. When he opened Chidori, the power of the medium-sized version of the tsunami plus the speed of the Reikage, he had wanted to try it for a long time. Give it to me, smash it. The Susanoo giant blocked with one arm, and swung the giant sword with the other arm. But how could Yingshu care so much? He directly smashed the giant sword that was swept over with a fist, and with a bang, the chakra giant sword was directly broken. Yingshu was quick-eyed and quick-handed, and he directly raised half of the chakra giant sword in mid-air. Now he also has a weapon. Don't underestimate medical ninjas. Damn it. Yingshu jumped up again. his head almost touching the ceiling, holding the giant chakra sword, and chopped down at the Susanoo below. Come on. Madara in Susanoo seemed to be rejuvenated, and he was so excited at this moment. So similar. This kid looks so much like me. Yes. Even his figure, his strange strength, and his hairstyle are so similar to that guy Hashirama. The three Magatama in his eyes, his indomitable momentum, are so similar to myself when I was young. He is, after all, a descendant of Uchiha. Not the Uchiha who gave up their glory. This child has been like him, Madara, since he was born, and now has nothing to do with Uchiha. Obito, that child, may be a good chess piece. A child who was abandoned by the treacherous clan, who was just like him, who was betrayed and abandoned, is more suitable for his plan. So, fight. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. Chapter 134. I've already said it, don't underestimate medical ninjas. Yingshu has a dream to live again. Punch the big pillar, kick Uchiha Madara, and reach the pinnacle of life. He can't hit the big pillar now, but he can still kick Madara. And he'd better kick him hard while you're old. But Uchiha Madara is not an easy person. There is more armor on Susanoo, and the blue chakra is more concentrated. It's like a half Tengu giant has been transformed into a giant. At this moment, Madara has opened the third stage of Susanoo, but Yingshu still feels that he can fight. His speed is faster than ever, and his strength is greater than ever. He is not afraid to fight Susanoo with the power of 1,000 hands. The second form of Susanoo, the giant blade that he chopped off, was completely destroyed by him. The defense of the half Tengu Susanoo was completely different from before. Bang! A punch hit the Tengu giant's head, but it had no effect at all. The Tengu giant swung the giant sword, and Iki could only jump back. At this moment, Iki pursed his lips. His eyes were like torches. It's very hard, but not as hard as imagined. In the ninja world, there are so many techniques known as absolute defense. Susanoo is one of them. At this moment, Madara's breath is normal, and his back is straightened. He obviously didn't use his own pupil power. Iki thought of the scene in the original space where Madara coughed wildly after just a few words with Obito, and he immediately knew what was going on. It's been so many years since his transcription seal was used, and his eye power has already disappeared. Even if he has preserved a lot of eye power, he can't control that much with his body. The second form of Susanoo is the most ideal, and he can't fully control the third form now. The more Iki thought about it, the more excited he became. He has become a little Superman. If he can't break through the defense, wouldn't it be a disaster? At that time, Iki also sighed. Sure enough, time is a killing knife. Madara used to be so high-spirited that he fought 998 times with his powerful Susanoo. The two of them fought to the point of darkness. But now, even the third stage of Susanoo can't be used perfectly. Then, don't blame me, Otsutsuki Iki, for being ruthless. Yingshu began to gather chakra in his left hand, and also in his right hand. He was not humming in his head, and his left and right hands were moving slowly, but his chakra was a bit violent now. In the little Superman mode of the 100 healings technique, his chakra was equivalent to a year's accumulation. But, the hydrogen style of the left hand, the Rasentan Shuriken, was ready. Song, the pseudo scorch style, the spiral wind fire wheel, was also ready in the right hand. Yingshu swung out his left and right hands at the same time, and the two windmills flashed an S-shaped arc in the air, and finally touched each other, landing right in front of the Tengu giant. It's useless. Madara's cold and arrogant voice rang out, and the Tengu giant raised his arms with his double swords, and steadily took a defensive posture. And the next second, boom. Flames burst out, and hot waves of fire exploded with deafening explosions. It works. Yingshu responded, and his voice came from the side of the Tengu giant. The explosion was very powerful, and even if he avoided it, it still burned his body. But Yingshu can create and regenerate. Half of his arm blocked his handsome face, and his skin was constantly burning and healing. Yingshu clenched his teeth, and the chakra condensed in his right arm was as much as Takakishi's. Crush it. Look at my double card punch. At this moment, the picture froze. Yingshu with a ferocious face, and his double card fist raised high. His expression was still calm, but his eyes were on the interested Uchiha Madara. "It's great to be young," Madara muttered to himself, and his eyes became kind in that instant. He was also young. He had a lovely brother and a group of united clansmen. He was also crazy. After the battle in the Valley of the End, so many years have passed, and the old ninja world doesn't even have a decent ninja. But this younger generation is different. His eyes look a lot like himself when he was young, and also look a lot like him back then. So, fire style, great fire extinguishment. Madara raised his hand and made a seal, one seal after another. Then a wave of fire as thick as magma rushed towards Iki. The timing was just right. At this moment, Yingshu used the double card punch to break the third stage Susanoo armor that was paralyzed on one side. Yingshu looked at the wave of fire that was coming at him, and he was completely confused. Warm reminder, the problem of logged-in users saving bookshelves across devices has been corrected. If you still can't save, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the browser's cookies, then log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. Illusion? No. This senile black, he actually still has the strength to use fire escape? Question mark? How dare you? The three Magatama in Yingshu's eyes kept spinning. He originally planned to use a Yang escape version of the Great Water Dragon bullet, just like how Meiterumi dealt with it when Madara fought the 5 cage. But only 0.056459 seconds later, Yingshu denied this idea. He made the same seal with his hands as Madara, the same seal. Fire style, great fire extinguishment. He not only wants to kill people, he also wants to destroy their hearts. He not only wants to kill chickens, but also wants to take their eggs. It's also a favor to your father, to die under your own technique. Shurer of the ninja world. Yingshu was in an infinitely good mood at the moment. Well, at least it was like this, before he was slapped away by another Susanoo behind him. Bang! Exclamation mark. It happened so quickly. It was also a Susanoo Titan, but it was only the second form. Even so, the defenseless Iki was blown away for a long distance, and he had to smash into the wall. And then he got stuck in it. Iki was completely stunned. And he was stunned by the pain. It was true that he could regenerate, and the pain, shock and impact were real. But at this moment, a question still arose in his mind. Who was it? Who was it? Shadow clone. The transcription seal should not allow the shadow clone to open Susanoo. Cough cough, cough cough cough. Madara withdrew the Susanoo and started coughing violently. With such a young body, it was hard for him to bear just a burst of fire. Oh my. That was a close call. A weird and unserious voice sounded. Wasn't it Beisetsu? But it wasn't a pure Beisetsu. At this moment, Beisetsu was controlling the body of Uchiha Wakaha. Uchiha Wakaha's eyes also flashed with 3 Magatama, but it was obviously not his, but a transplanted Sharingan with the same Madara transcription seal. Hurry. Madara panted violently, calling Beisetsu. Beisetsu came to Madara's side, and the white substance was injected into Madara's body, and Madara's breath gradually became stable. This guy's really a tough one. He can force you to this point. TSK, it's really scary. Madara was silent for a moment, and looked at the fallen Iki from a distance. Make sure he's not dead first. I'll put a restriction on his heart. Okay. Beisetsu controlled Uchiha Ruka's body, and jumped in front of Iki. He stretched out an arm, and put it on Iki's shoulder, just like he did to Madara just now, and kept injecting some white substances. But at this moment, it was time. I've told you, don't underestimate medical ninjas. Damn it. Yingshu, who was lying dead just now, suddenly opened his eyes wide. How could he be a match for creation and regeneration with just a concussion? Question mark. Chidori thrust and cut off the arm of White Zetsu, but Yingshu's target was Uchiha Madara. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Yingshu's expression was ferocious. He had saved chakra for a year, and it was almost used up. But in the end, it was more than enough to take down the bloody age spots. If you have the ability, you can open Susanoo. Question mark. But, it's just at this critical moment. Bantu raised his 2 fingers, and the wall behind him shook. In an instant, Yingshu seemed to see a golem. We will meet again, kid. When you do, you will feel. TUI. Yingshu took advantage of Bang's farewell words and sprayed a water thousand bonds at him. But unfortunately, Bang's figure disappeared in a puff of white smoke. Reverse psychic technique. It's really fucking stupid. Yingshu stomped his feet in anger. He almost succeeded. Then you can only bear my anger. What? Where is he? Yingshu turned around and found that Beiju was gone. As expected of someone who followed old man Uchiha Madara, he ran away so quickly. Yingshu was so angry. This time, all the chakra he had accumulated for more than a year was gone, and there was nothing left. Huh. Yingshu glanced out of the corner of his eye and suddenly saw one big box after another, and the big fan that looked like a gourd hanging on the wall. This doesn't seem to be a loss. Yingshu raised his eyebrows. Several big boxes of ninja tools, and hopefully some cash. He didn't need the Uchiha fan, but with some manipulation, he could sell it to the Uchiha for a good price. It's just a small, Why do your shoulders feel so heavy? Yingshu patted his shoulder, but found that the feeling was different. He suddenly remembered that Beiju seemed to have injected something into his body just now, and his expression changed. What the hell? Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. Chapter 135. From the wolf's den to the bear's lair. Time goes back to 10 minutes ago, when Iki was smashed against the wall. Obito, Kakashi. What I'm going to tell you is very important. You must listen carefully. Iki's shadow helped Kakashi fix his eyes, and Obito, who had collected the 7 ninja swords, also came over. So, your physical foundation. Obito was about to ask, but was interrupted by Iki. I don't have much time. Listen to Obito carefully. Iki looked serious, so Kakashi and Obito didn't dare to interrupt. The last time Iki was so serious was when he fought with Master's wife for the first time. It seems that the situation is really urgent. I may not be able to come back for the time being. Iki's opening words were like a bombshell. Obito and Kakashi's faces tensed, but the shadow raised his hand to signal not to interrupt. Obito, do you remember the scar on your face? We were targeted a year ago. I failed to kill him that time, and he ran away. That man was very strong. I tried my best, but he still ran away, and he also caused me serious injuries. As he said this, Iki raised his hand again, and held down Obito, who was about to speak. So I have worked hard to learn medical ninjutsu this year, just 4, but it may be too late. Kakashi was struck by lightning. Obito's eyes were red. Very good, the mood is in place. Yingshu said to himself. He didn't know what was going on in his body, but maybe Tsuchiko's manger key could help. If I can't come back, everyone. Yingshu said, showing a smile that said I must live well in the future. Don't feel sorry for me, and don't be sad because of me. Obito, learn your fire escape well. You are the man who wants to be Hokage. Kakashi, learn swordsmanship from Uncle White Fang well. You don't have to be the first White Fang, but you can choose to be Blue Fang. When the blue lightning flashes, I hope the enemy will tremble because of your name. So, puff, the shadow disappeared. It has been more than an hour, and the outer Yingshu has been fighting continuously. It is good that he can hold on until now. About 10 minutes later, Iki, who was sorting out the exploded equipment, finally got feedback. It's a pity that I didn't see Obito's expression. Iki sighed. His original plan was to let the shadow body and Kakashi's Byakugan cooperate. When the shadow body dissipated, the huge amount of chakra returned to the body, which was equivalent to pointing out the direction. The Byakugan can see it completely. If Kakashi can't do it, he can still find the Hyuga clan. In short, if he can't beat him, he can still delay time. But facts proved he was too nervous. The situation was urgent at the time, and he instinctively thought that he was about to face the most difficult situation in his life. Who would have thought that, although Madara still had some fighting power, he was too awesome. At least he could have another fight. Moreover, Iki realized belatedly that Madara's attitude towards him seemed to be different. When it came to Obito, Madara was too lazy to even speak up, and his plans were all perfect. With a wave of Kakashi and Reikiri, Obito turned evil on the spot. But when it came to him, I guess Madara didn't think I would be so powerful, right? Iki looked at the empty boxes on the ground and raised his eyebrows. This time, it was like beating a boss, and a bunch of equipment exploded. Not to mention the ninja tools. There were only 3 boxes. The key was the pile of detonating tags that looked very expensive. After all, ordinary detonating tags wouldn't catch Madara's eye. But Yingshu still couldn't find any cash in the end, feeling a little regretful. After organizing all the equipment into the big scroll, Yingshu sat cross-legged and called a shadow body to help observe his shoulders again. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading records and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. It's a lot smaller again. If it really doesn't work, why don't you try to cut it directly? The shadow body gave a suggestion. No need, wait for the body to absorb it by itself. Yingshu exhaled. White Zetsu was created by Madara with the help of the Outer Path Demon statue and, based on Hashirama cells. Unlike the soldiers of Kaguya Satsuki, it has the ability to master all 8 gates and can be called a panacea. But what puzzled Iki was the aggressiveness of the White Zetsu cells, although not weaker than Hashirama cells, should not be so easy to control. How long has it been? He has almost absorbed it all. And when it comes to release, a bold idea suddenly popped up in Iki's mind. Suppose, what if he comes to Konoha, he will try to tattoo Hashirama cells on his shoulders, and then open the main Gekkai Dori. Susanoo Great Buddha, I will destroy the country with one hand. Well, Konoha is not obedient, we have to blow it up. Iki fantasized for a long time. When his chakra recovered a little, he carried the heavy scroll on his back. Maybe it was a psychological reason, but Iki felt it was several times heavier than at the beginning. With his chakra attached to his feet, Iki walked up all the way until he reached the tensei plate, hanging upside down, Earth-style, earthquake core. The location of Madara's base has always been a mystery. It seems that he exists wherever the plot requires him. Obito was kidnapped near the Kamimu Bridge to engage in pyramid selling, but when Kakashi Reikiri killed Rin, he was on a mission near Konoha and Kirigakure. Iki didn't know it before and thought it was a bug. Now I know that it was Madara's base and it was movable. As the original base of the White Zetsu, once the Earth May Fly technique was activated, he could really do whatever he wanted. I just don't know where I would be now. I hope I can hide a little closer to the mist. The shadow body was only half completed, and God knows what the situation of Obito and Kakashi is now. Obito just opened the 3 Megatama, and there was no such intuitive stimulation. I don't know if the main Jiki Teruji can be opened, and if it is opened, I don't know what ability it will have. Iki always feels that he was careless. After all, the double Kamu is still reliable. Well, if it doesn't open, he can try to have a live show with Kakashi. No, Kakashi, you're going to kill me no. Iki, no. Boom. Exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark. The small drama ended, accompanied by the disappearance of another shadow figure and the explosion of the detonating tag. The rubble continued to fall, and with it, there were beams of moonlight. The moon tonight is big and round. Hurry up and go, otherwise it will be difficult to explain. Iki exhaled and rushed out of the hole he dug. But at the moment he rushed out, who is it? A hostile baritone sounded, and Iki was startled and almost took out the flame fan. He turned his head and saw that it was a strong man dressed as a 3-2 ninja staring at him. Judging from the forehead guard, it was a Kumogakure ninja. Wow. Yingshu's head tilted, and he was ready to move his body on the spot. Do you know Uchiha Madara? He was the Shura of the ninja world decades ago, the one who drove Susanoo and killed people indiscriminately. I just fought with him for 300 rounds, but I didn't have enough fun, and he ran away. I have to say that Yingshu was very inflated at the moment. He stretched out a finger and pointed at the 3 Kumogakure ninjas. Then, in the blink of an eye, more than 100 strong men appeared. Especially among them there was a combination of a big back hair plus rapper. Yingshu's finger decisively put on a thumbs up, made a heart shape on the spot, and showed a shy smile. Brother, I'm lost. Do you know how to get to the land of fire and thunder? Huh. Get him. Roar. 100 muscular men roaring. Tips: there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 136, Our Group's Big Brother. The moon was dark and the wind was high. More than 100 strong men gathered together, staring at the center with playful eyes. The dusty young man with a big scroll on his back was surrounded by more than 100 strong men, and he couldn't get out. The scene was extremely weird for a while. God has its own way, and no one can escape. As arrogant as Yingshu was to the old man just now, he was as flustered now. His chakra was not fully restored, and he had to dig a hole all the way up, so now he had even less chakra. The yin seal was also broken, and he was almost 1.8 meters tall now, so the previous buff of "I'm just a child" was no longer effective. It seemed that those strong men were about to come over and do something to him. It will take some time for the chakra to recover. The key is that he doesn't know where this place is. Is it the battlefield or the Kumogakure base? But Yingshu knows that he has to do something. He can compromise. Just kidding. This is not the first time he has surrendered tactically in his life. The last time he surrendered tactically, he made a lot of money. But the scroll behind him can't surrender. There are tens of thousands of detonating tags in it. The equipment he got when he beat the boss is in it. It's equivalent to his entire fortune! Exclamation mark. The head can be cut off, and the blood can be shed, but my property cannot be lost. Yingshu was speechless. He never thought that there would be a group of Kumogakure strongmen on Madara's base. And Yingshu glanced at the man with the slicked back hair and the suspected rapper. This can't be the Ab brothers. Yingshu glanced at the green necklace on his chest again. So, Tsunade, is it you? Don't resist, little skinny monkey. Several strong men approached Yingshu. Yingshu sneered at the title, but he raised his hands high with a cooperative look on his face. Brother, we are a group. I'm also a ninja of Union. There are many ways to resist Tsunade's curse, and wisdom is one of them. Yingshu has come up with a clever idea in a hurry, and now it's time to take action. Enemy identity, Union strongmen 100 plus my identity. I have the final say. Anyway, he has no helmet and no vest. Yingshu's appearance is tattered now. Some of it was burned, and some of it was rubbed against the wall. His helmet and other things were knocked off a long time ago, and he dug a hole in the ground all the way out, so he is really a wolf. But this is his best cover. Yingshu looked panicked, but he had a ghostly smile in his heart. Showtime. There is no skinny guy like you among my onion men. The strong man in front of Yingshu didn't believe it at all, as if muscles were the symbol of onion, and he was going to take Yingshu down. Yingshu's face turned red. If I grew up in Kumogakure, I would definitely be stronger than you now. And darker than you. Yingshu argued seriously. He directly defeated the Kumogakure strongman in front of him. What do you mean? Get out of the way. Before the strongman could react, he was pushed away by another strongman. The man who appeared in front of Yingshu at this moment was a macho man with dark skin, lumpy flesh and a slicked back hair. After a close look, Yingshu firmly believed in his judgment. This is the future fourth Raikage, the fourth AI of Kumogakure. So what about the suspected rapper, who is now Billy? He just fought with the Shura of the Ninja Realm for 300 rounds, and when he came out, he met Ab brothers plus 100 Kumogakure strongmen. After wearing this death necklace, his luck is really good. Boy, who are you? Why are you here? AI's expression is actually normal, but combined with his naturally irritable voice and his chubby face, it is easy to scare children. Moreover, it is easy to give people the illusion that this man is a reckless man with no brains. But Yingshu knows this guy. Reckless, indeed reckless, daring to lead a large Kumogakure army to directly attack the Konoha Gate. How can that not be called reckless? Amaterasu burnt her arm, cut off one of her own arms without saying anything, and then almost broke a pillar in two. How could he not be called reckless? This guy's not stupid. A man who can be the shadow of a village cannot be a mere reckless man. So, When it comes to testing his acting skills, he is ready. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot to save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. My name is Zengai, and I'm indeed a ninja from Kumogakure. To be precise, my father who was undercover in Kirigakure is a ninja from Kumogakure. Yingshu thought of the wretched strong man in Iwagakure and borrowed the vest. And why did I appear here? To be honest, I have been fleeing all the way to the present, and I don't even know where I am. Yingshu said, looking directly into AI's eyes with a firm gaze. This is a skill he learned in Daoyin before going to college in his previous life. When lying, look into other people's eyes and have faith to get the sincerity buff. Of course, if you come to cheat for living expenses, you may get a big purse. But Yingshu is prepared. Don't forget, just a dozen chapters ago, Yingshu still took down a few mists. Their bodies are now in the scroll. Father? Undercover, justice. AI frowned. Yes. Yingshu directly moved to open the scroll, and the strong men around him immediately wanted to stop him, but AI waved his hand and signaled to ignore him. Facing the ninja, at this distance, he is invincible except for his father. Yingshu's heart was also pounding. Thankfully the medical ninja's hands didn't shake at all. After a seal, several corpses appeared immediately. They all wore misty hidden helmets and were dressed in misty hidden costumes, which seemed to give Yingshu's words more credibility. These are the enemies that my father risked his life to kill in order for me to bring the intelligence back to Kumogakure. Yingshu said, his eyes dim, and then he silently put away the scroll and put it on his back. He didn't want to be ordered to open other restrictions on the scroll. AI's brows tightened even more. Unlike what Yingshu had expected, AI did not ask, what is the intelligence? AI just waved his hand and asked someone to confirm the identity of the corpse, and the pair of eyes that seemed to be filled with anger at all times stared directly at the young man in front of him. Well, Yingshu, who is nearly 1.8 meters tall, is not at all inappropriate to be called uncle by his peers. Yingshu also looked back without panic. Of course, although he did not look panicked, his heart rate was still throbbing. I don't have much chakra left. I'm definitely not a match for this distance and this number of people. The only way is to retreat to Madara's base. After that, throw the detonating talisman into the passage, and I will find a way to dig a new tunnel to throw off the pursuers. AB thought of calmness. Yingshu could only quickly perfect plan B. Well, plan A is a battle of wits, plan B is to run away, and plan C is a heroic resistance. The two looked at each other in amazement. Yingshu seemed calm, but he was thinking about how to run away. AI seemed to be ready to explode at any time, but his eyes were actually calm, as if he was a wise man with a strong body. And just when Yingshu felt that he could not hold back and was about to turn on the old man mode, it is indeed the mist-hidden ninja, sir. This guy's not lying. AI waved his hand, and Yingshu breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he kept a trick. We need to verify your identity after we return to Union. Before that, you should stay with me. Since you have Union blood in your body, I want to see your performance on the battlefield later. AI turned around and left. Yingshu saw his broad back muscles and compared them with the man who was making faces not far away. You leave people of unknown identity with you and take care of them yourself. So confident. You are so brave. Don't worry. I'm a Union man in life and a Union soul in death. Yingshu roared, but his heart gradually became lively. He was temporarily stable. Give him some time, and 100 strong men can't stop him from running away. Give him some more time to fill up the yin seal, and he will dare to confront another 1000 strong men. Give him some more time to do something with Hashirama's cells and open the main Jekai tube, and even another 10,000 strong men will have to kneel down and sing conquer. Okay, the eye is over. So the battlefield AI mentioned. Will he meet Minato? No, 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 it should be too early considering the time. Yingshu sighed in his heart. The battle between the Ab brothers and the Golden Flash will take at least 2 years. He can only rely on himself. Damn. When he thought about the great Otsutsuki Iki, there would be a time when he would be embarrassed because of lack of blue. In his heart, Yingshu wanted to kick the necklace around his neck to pieces. What the hell? Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid being unable to find it next time. Chapter 137, The Glory of the Thousand Hands Clan. Obito, calm down, calm down. You don't know where Iki is. Kakashi hugged Obito's waist tightly. Obito said nothing and rushed out of the room. White Fang and Orochimaru looked at this scene with complicated eyes. I really didn't expect it. The 7 ninja swordsmen were taken down by these 3 guys, and according to Kakashi, Iki basically handled it all by himself. But Iki himself disappeared, saying that he met a mysterious enemy. Who could it be? Who could it be? The 2 strong men searched their minds for the top ninjas in the entire ninja world, but they couldn't think of a suitable name. The 2 looked at each other. In their hearts, they probably had an idea. They couldn't think of the enemies in the outside world. In Konoha. Let me go, Kakashi. Obito stopped rushing forward. His tone was terribly cold. I'm very calm now. But you want me to stay here and do nothing? I can't do it. I'm also curious, why can you do it? Obito turned his head and looked at Kakashi, and his 2-3 Magatama aimed at Kakashi's white eyes covered by the forehead guard. His chakra was a little cold. He found that Kakashi's eyes were also a little dead. Let him go. At this time, White Fang spoke. Kakashi, you go too. Although he was still not sure who the so-called enemy was, he still made a decision. At this moment, staying on the battlefield is definitely safer than returning to Konoha. Obito, I hope you can know. Now Iki is just a trace. He may not have been killed. He may still be in a corner, working hard to see you again. So, don't be dominated by your emotions. Hold on to that hope, and go forward. White Fang's words made Obito's eyes flash a little light. I know. After a night of rushing, he followed this group of strong men to capture a temporary base of Iwagakure. Only then did Yingshu realize that they were really in Iwagakure's territory. So White Zetsu took me across half of the ninja world? Question mark? Yingshu was surprised in his heart, but he was unambiguous in his hands. Anyway, he was going to kill the Iwagakure. He would be killed with the Konoha armor or without it. It would be a waste if he didn't kill. And in order to fit the character setting, he only used lightning release and water release. It would be too flattering to just use lightning release. It would seem more realistic if he occasionally used water release. A whole day had passed, and the moon had just risen when it was dark. This army of 100 strong men from the cloud-hidden army took a temporary rest on a piece of hard yellow land. Yingshu's record was 3 Iwagakure Genin plus 1 Iwagakure Chunin, and he had initially gained a certain degree of trust. He even avoided a shuriken by pulling a strong man away, and also received a water bottle handed over by the strong man. From now on, you are my Osamu's oldest brother. Whoever wants to bully you must first ask if this muscle of mine agrees. Osamu hammered his chest muscles and pointed at Yingshu. This made Yingshu a little embarrassed. Of course, what made him embarrassed was not just this action with excessive hormones. It was also the speed at which his chakra recovered. Soon, it was more than 10 percentage points faster than before. Warm reminder, this website uses cookie technology to save your reading records and bookshelf. So clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. Yingshu found that his shoulders were getting heavier. He also found that the chakra he recovered, or the chakra he refined, was all running to his shoulders. This made Yingshu a little panicked. He was sick, and he didn't know whether this disease was called wood release. He knew that if he didn't quickly gather enough chakra to escape from the Ab brothers, he would be in real danger. Here, while Yingshu was daydreaming, AI, who had always kept a distance from him to hit his head with a punch, threw a black hard object over. Eat some of the taste of your hometown. You're too thin. Huh. Yingshu looked at the thing in his hand. Judging from the texture, it seemed to be a piece of dried meat. It was hard and looked unhealthy. However, Yingshu still took a bite. It was salty and a little bitter. It was not on the same level as the braised pork made by Kumi, but it had a different taste in his heart. It tastes good. Yingshu reluctantly nodded a thumbs up. As a medical ninja of the Senju clan, he didn't care whether this piece of meat was poisonous or not. As long as the thing eaten was not a detonating talisman, he had a way. If all else failed, there were 20 or so doses of antidote serum hidden in the scroll, prepared by Tsuna himself. The atmosphere was much more harmonious than last night. But at this time, you don't look like a Kumogakure person at all. AI's words broke the brief harmony, and Yingshu's heart became nervous. His first reaction was to see B sitting alone, eating and composing a single. Did the 8 tails in this guy's body discover the Sharingan in me? Or did he detect my Otsutsuki's aura? Question mark? Yingshu thought that he had always disguised his chakra very well, and there was no spot on his appearance that was easily exposed. The last time he left the village, he was still 1.4 meters tall, his hair was not so long, and he looked very handsome. He used to be called a Shota, and now he is called a handsome guy. Can it be the same? You are too thin. In Kumogakure, even a 10-year-old kid would be stronger than you. Huh. Yingshu frowned again. He looked directly into AI's eyes, and his stubborn eyes told AI that you offended me. When I was 8, I could already beat up an adult from Kiryu. Don't look at me because I'm skinny. My bones are full of muscle. What Yingshu didn't say was that when he was 6, he blew up a Kumogakure into a mummy. When he was 7, he single-handedly took down a Kiryu spy. And when he was 8, he blew up more than 20 candidates in the Chunin exam with a single shot of hydrogen escape. Just now, he smashed a 3rd stage Susanoo with one punch. Yingshu got angrier and angrier the more he thought about it. He stood up and moved his left shoulder. It felt a little heavy. He had a lot of chakra stored there, but he couldn't release it for the time being, which was a bit like being sealed. This is about the dignity of a man, the dignity of the Senju clan. He can't be afraid. Yingshu stretched out his arm and made an arm wrestling gesture. Come on. Huh. Wow. That kid wants to challenge brother AI. Call me sir. It's been a long time since I saw someone dare to compete with Sir AI in strength. Quick, quick, quick. Move stones, move stones. More than 100 U9 strong men were instantly excited. One by one, they spontaneously moved stones and built a table. In just less than a minute, a stone table appeared in front of Yingshu and AI. The two stepped forward and held hands without any nonsense. Yingshu looked serious. That woman Tsuna has brought shame to the Senju clan. I must fight her today. It doesn't matter if she is an undercover or not. She will turn against me sooner or later. Even if she turns against me now, the probability of her successfully escaping is as high as 70%. Everything we do now is for the glory of the Senju clan. Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. Chapter 138 First Blood. I want it. When the two put their hands together, Yingshu was puzzled and secretly glanced at his thigh. As the old saying goes, the arm cannot be stronger than the thigh. So, AI, whose arms are thicker than his thighs, is. Are you ready, kid? I won't show mercy. Don't cry if you lose later. AI's roar suddenly rang in Yingshu's ears, and the people around him also started to make a fuss. Of course, most of them were cheering for AI. Sam's lonely come on for justice looked so pitiful. Yingshu narrowed his eyes. Compared with the seemingly rational macho man before, the current AI is more in line with the grumpy uncle in Yingshu's memory. Sure enough, as long as a man comes to a table ready to arm wrestle, the little milk dog will turn into big bad wolf. The last person who dared to talk to me like this, now, almost 15 pounds. Yingshu was not willing to be outdone, and immediately prepared to exert force. If it was just a matter of strength, Yingshu would definitely not be the opponent, but only fools would just compare strength. This is the ninja world. Before anyone shouted to start, Yingshu suddenly raised his chakra, just to catch the opponent off guard. The next second, AI was surprised. This kid is so strong. Yingshu was also surprised. 30% of the strange power could actually be caught. The two seemed to have started, but also seemed not to have started. AI began to exert force, and chakra was injected into the arm. but it was just injected into the arm. Unlike Yingshu, it was to let the chakra cover the entire arm. There is a difference between strange power and great strength. 1000 hands power, 10% to 60 output. Yingshu's power at this moment is twice as strong as before, and his arm is directly pressed forward about 15 degrees. AI widened his eyes, and the pressure on his arm surprised him. Could this guy also be from the Yu clan? But his skin is pale. However, despite the surprise, AI still took it seriously, and chakra was already showing on his arm. Yingshu's arm, the 15-degree advantage that he had finally gained, was slowly bent back. The strong men next to him were all excited. They never thought that such a thin guy could actually fight with AI. This is the fourth AI, the successor to the next Raikage. Aren't you full? I only have half of my strength now. Are you going to collapse? AI yelled. You can't beat me, even if I'm hungry for 3 more days. How could Yingshu bear it? 1000 hands force, 90% output. The force doubled again. This is not over yet. Yingshu's right index finger and middle finger suddenly twitched. AI was stunned for a moment. This kid, is he making a seal with one hand? Question mark? Zizzy. The next moment, Yingshu jumped up, with arcs flashing on his right hand, and he pressed down with his whole body. This move is called Thousand Birds Force. When the 4th generation AI of the original time and space was arm wrestling with Tsuna, he suddenly exploded in the lightning chakra mode, catching Tsuna off guard. Yingshu was even more shameless. He even threw out Chidori. Imagine, you are arm wrestling with someone, and that person suddenly becomes 3 times stronger, and his hand suddenly turns into an electric saw. Bang! The whole stone platform shattered. Yingshu smashed the stone platform with AI's arm, and then pressed it to the ground, making a big hole. I won. Yingshu looked down from above. The glory of the Senju clan. He defended it. At this moment, the whole place was silent, and you could hear a pin drop. Yingshu was breathing slightly. It must be said that AI is worthy of being the man with the strongest combat power among the 5K in the future. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. Although his strength is not as good as Tsuna's, except for a defensive master like Susanoo, who would need to use super strength to fight. Speaking of which, if Yingshu remembers correctly, the Ab brothers at this time have never tasted defeat, right? Very good. He got the first blood. When the main force set out again, Yingshu's treatment was obviously much better. His identity seemed to be tacitly recognized, and AI didn't stare at him personally. Many people came over to take a look at Yingshu's little arm. This arm contains the power to defeat AI. At this time, Yingshu thought of himself as Obito. He can show off as much as he wants, but he is as clear-headed as a mirror in his heart. Union is not a fool, nor is he the kind of orc who listens to whoever is stronger. AI is not a fool either. He just likes a more direct way of dealing with things, which includes not being limited to violent behavior. A suspected spy has sneaked into the team, and his identity cannot be verified for the time being. What should we do? Keep him by his side, wait for him to show his hand, and then take him down with lightning speed. This is what AI would do. However, this is actually nothing to Yingshu, because his shoulders have become more and more relaxed, and the chakra is not pouring into them all at once. Although the swallowed chakra cannot be mobilized, it will not affect his rapid recovery. If nothing unexpected happens, he will be able to recover his chakra by lunch. By then, the probability of his successful escape will be as high as 90%. But this is Iwagakuyo's territory. Only a 90% chance of escaping from the hands of the Ab brothers is not enough. He also has to prepare the chakra surrounded by Iwagakuyo. So Yingshu planned, if conditions permit, to stay until 4:15 the next morning. By then, his chakra will be full, and he can store a lot in the Yin seal. Run back to Konoha in one breath, and then kill Kirigakure, no problem. It is worth mentioning that Yingshu secretly glanced at the rapper. I have to say, this guy has a very low presence. It's not scientific. Is it because the big brother is around, so he doesn't dare to do anything? I didn't expect that the killer bee is so shy at this time. Yingshu didn't think so much. After all, he had to keep a shy and proud expression on his face. On the other hand, AI also noticed something wrong with B. Suddenly, there was no fly buzzing next to Shinzia. Don't say I'm a little uncomfortable. B. That guy's strength is not less than yours. You have to try your best. AI opened the topic. Ever since B got into a new style of rhyme some time ago, he rarely used the word indifferent when communicating with B. Is it? I know. B's voice was a little sad. AI frowned. I didn't beat you up yesterday? Forget it. It's good to be honest for one day. AI didn't think too much and continued on his way. As a sharp knife to pierce the Land Kingdom, their mission this time is very important. The team was moving. B, curiously, secretly, glanced at the black-haired young man. Can I go say hello? It's better not. A voice rang in B's head. That guy is very dangerous. Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. Chapter 139. Very good, I accept it. The cloud-hidden army was advancing, and when they passed the low part between two mountains, that is, the ridges, commonly known as the valley or gully, lava style, burning river rock flow technique, a powerful and deep voice rang out, followed by dozens of fireballs as thick as magma, smashing towards the cloud-hidden army. There is an ambush. The cloud-hidden army ninjas scattered, and there were many villains in the place, and the attacks were so concentrated that there was always no time for someone to dodge. B. AI shouted loudly, and at the same time, he activated the lightning-style chakra. He actually jumped up directly, and kicked a huge rock on the surrounding mountain with a whip kick. The rock flew out under the force and forcibly blocked several fireballs. Hai was not idle either. A red chakra tail appeared behind his buttocks, and his task was to help take away the Kumogakure, who had no time to dodge. The two brothers cooperated well. This reminded Yingshu, who was about to slack off, of Obito and Kakashi. If it was Team 7 here, well, for large-scale defensive ninjutsu, these two guys probably couldn't be relied on. They would either run away, or he would have to stand up in the end. He would fire a powerful water dragon bullet plus a powerful water wall to easily block this magma fireball. Yingshu found a suitable position to slack off, hung on the mountain, and watched the Ab brothers work. There was nothing interesting over there in Hai, and he was still working with the Eight Tails. Hai is not a prince like Naruto, who can perfectly match young Nine Tails after a big battle, and can even fight Susanoo with a fairy technique. Hai now can only borrow the power of Eight Tails without injury. It is obvious that he has gained the trust and recognition of Eight Tails, but it is not enough to run in the power. It is different with AI. Yingshu glanced at Hai and confirmed that this guy was busy. The three Magatama in his eyes quietly lit up. To be honest, he wanted to learn the lightning chakra mode, which is pretty cool. He also had an idea to divide the yin seal into several parts, one for lightning chakra, one for hydrogen chakra, and one for natural energy, after learning fairy techniques. In this way, he can have many modes, such as Thousand Hands Power Mode, Bankai Little Superman Mode, Lightning Release Little Superman Mode, Sage Mode, and the ultimate Thousand Hands Lightning Sage Red Eyes Superman Hydrogen Release Turret Mode. Think about it. Explosive chakra, precise guidance, and fast movement. He can fight alone at close range with the power of the 8 gates. He can also use hydrogen release Rasengan to bombard wildly at a distance. How can a sixth man, how can he be so all-powerful? Question mark. The Susanoo Buddha was prepared for the Ten Tails. Before that, he could also make a name for himself with his own hands. So fierce. Yingshu lit up the three Magatama, but in addition to being able to see AI's movements clearly, there was also the lightning release chakra attached to AI. All he could see was the word macho. So it's just a simple application of lightning release on the body? Or, Iki turned off his Sharingan and his mind became active. Lightning release chakra mode is a B-rank ninja taijutsu. That is to say, it is not difficult to get started, and the difference between the upper and lower limits must be huge. Strictly speaking, Iki's Chidori thrust can also be considered a ninja taijutsu. After all, it can drive one's own speed. It's equivalent to applying Chidori on the body. Iki raised his eyebrows. At this time, he noticed a gaze. Iki looked carefully and found that B was staring at him straight. Iki was shocked. I was exposed. Question mark? It can't be wrong. B. Go tell your big brother, this guy's definitely not from your Kumogakure. The Eight Tails roared crazily. But he saved a Sam. Is it possible that he is a good person? B was still a little confused. A Sam, but he is one of the few men who can appreciate his rap soul. You idiot. Do you want to? B. Come here quickly. Warm reminder, if you can't find it by searching the book title, you can try searching the author, maybe just change the name. Eight-Tailed was about to get angry, but AI was already angry. His current opponent is one of the targets of Kumogakure at this time, one of the two great Jinchuriki of Iwagakure, the four-tailed Jinchuriki, Z. Kumogakure's current strategic target is always Sunagakure, the weakest country of wind, the weakest Sunagakure, but occupies the most spacious land. Although poor, the men of the Cloud Gakure are never afraid of difficult environments. This will be the first step for the Night Moon clan to dominate the ninja world. The Iwagakure is too handicapped, so the third and fourth generations of AI decided at the same time to capture two Iwagakure Jinchuriki and use them as a bargaining chip to make the Iwagakure behave themselves. Reito Ninja Usutsuki. AI's left arm's biceps bulged, and he rushed towards Lao Z's face. This younger generation came fiercely, but Lao Z was not panicked at all. Lava style, lava flow. Lao Z's body seemed to be shrouded in magma. AI seemed furious, but this was just his emotional expression during the battle, and it did not mean that he had lost his mind. With a flash of body movement, AI's fist didn't hit Z, but rushed behind him. For a warrior, anger is what matters, and now, AI's anger has exploded. He raised his arm, and lightning flashed all over his body. The voice came from Z's front and back at the same time. What AI wanted to do from the beginning was to take down this Jinchuriki together with his dear brother. Here I come, here I come, here I come. Yingshu lit up the three Megatama again. It is possible that he has discovered him, but the situation is urgent, and he has no time to say it. To be honest, if he chooses to run now, the probability of his escape is as high as 120%. The Ab brothers are fighting against the Four Tails Jinchuriki. Shizukari has had the Four Tails implanted in her since she was a child. Although she is not a perfect Jinchuriki, the power she can borrow is much stronger than the current Shizukari. It would be a shame not to watch such a high-end game. When the Ab brothers used this trick to defeat the honest Manoni, he was very excited. And if he could copy this trick, he might be able to fight against Obito and Kakashi in the future. Forget it, they are too young, forget it. Just as the Ab brothers' arms were about to hit Shizukari, Shizukari only made one move. Crossing her arms, the tailed beast chakra suddenly burst out. Lava style, granite. At this moment, Xian's body was covered with black material like volcanic rocks, and the flames were flowing inside. He seemed to have turned into a volcano that was about to erupt. Bang bang, not to mention it, the key is still very hot. Yingshu raised his eyebrows again, his eyes shining. This move is not bad. Attack and defense in one. The nature of fire style plus earth style changes. Good. He accepted this move. It is always good to study chakra more. Kakashi in the original time and space was called a copy ninja, and he often copied a homework and confused himself. And when encountering a blood-related limit ninjutsu, it is basically equivalent to a copy failure. It has only been successful once in the Snow Country, and it was a fucking theater version. Although Yingshu can't use this granite skill now, the progress of melting escape and even breaking the blood limit has moved forward. Because of this don't look at Yingshu as a slacker. He is also ambitious. Achieving the blood limit and even blood elimination freedom, creating the ultimate hydrogen escape, is his goal. But goals are goals. Yingshu now has a clear mind. Let's run away. Lao Z is probably not a match for these two brothers. The undefeated record of the Ab brothers before meeting Minato was not a joke. Although we know that the result is most likely that Lao Z ran away, at least he is not dead, and there is still learning significance in this battle. Yingshu left a shadow to observe for him. He had to go. Otherwise, if the two brothers came to their senses, he would be finished. And just when Yingshu turned around, the breath that made the five-tailed beast uneasy. Is it you? Very good. Boiling release. Unparalleled power. Yingshu. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title, you can try searching the author. Maybe the name has just been changed. Chapter 140. A piece of wood grows on the shoulder. When the guy with red armor wrapped around his body, a red hat on his head, a brown mask on his face, waving a big punch like a sandbag, and filled with steam appeared in front of Yingshu. Yingshu's first reaction was that he should take off the necklace. And his second reaction was Thunderplow hot knife. Yingshu learned and applied it on the spot, and his wrists were full of flashing lightning, buzzing non-stop like 1,000 birds singing. He memorized the movements of Thunderplow hot knife. He couldn't do the full body lightning chakra mode. It was not a problem of difficulty. Give him some time and he could definitely train it out. With his chakra extension, he can now cover his entire wrist with lightning chakra. Of course, at this time, Yingshu still had a Sharingan. Bang! Yingshu directly hit Han with his sword. Not only that, he also dodged Han's fist full of steam. Han's 228.3 centimeters tall man was actually smashed and flew out. This is the physical enhancement of the Sharingan. All actions are equivalent to slow motion in front of this dynamic vision. Yingshu, who had not had time to turn off the Sharingan, not only used a simplified version of the Thunderplow hot knife, but also showed off a wave of physical skills. But he didn't dare to stay. It's true that the Ab brothers were held back, but he couldn't be held back by Han. Yes, the man in the red helmet in front of him is the Five Tails Jinchuriki of Iwagakure, Han. The Ab brothers had never been defeated before they met Minato, so it means that they can even take down 2 Jinchuriki? Impossible. What is their mission this time? Yingshu had 1,000 questions in his mind. He didn't believe that this was the result of the death necklace. The third person cursed by Tsune died at the hands of the Kumogakure Ab brothers and the Iwagakure 4 and 5 Tails Jinchuriki. Isn't this ridiculous? At this point, things have completely gone beyond Yingshu's predictions. He calculated his current combat power, 7 chakras, half of his own Yin seal, and 1.5 on his left shoulder, but he couldn't use it. Then there were tens of thousands of detonating talismans, countless ninja tools, and a flame fan made of a sacred tree. If the enemy only had these on the surface, he had a 70% chance of returning to Konoha. Then we can't delay. Yingshu directly unfolded the scroll, and the Uchiha flame fan and the sickle attached to it appeared in his hand. Normally, Yingshu did not want to show his Sharingan. He did not want to expose his Uchiha identity. Just think about it, and you will know that it will be very troublesome. But now, he needs to get out of danger as soon as possible, and he has to preserve chakra as much as possible. This requires an elite combat method, rather than saturation firepower coverage and strikes. As for the Sharingan, just don't show it in front of the Konoha people. He can turn it off anyway. Wait. Yingshu suddenly thought of something. Five Tails, why are you doing this to me? Wait. The nine-tailed fox in the master's belly. Although he didn't know the reason, the five-tailed fox did notice that he was different. Besides being handsome, he also had his Sharingan and the power of the 1,000 hands. Could it be a Zetsu cell? Yingshu stared at the man who flew backwards for a long distance, but he reached out and touched his shoulder. There were too many questions. He, a man who had watched the finale of Shippuden, was confused for a while. He had opened his Sharingan a long time ago. If the tail beast could detect it, Kushina should have discovered it long ago. With her temper, she would have forced herself to perform red eye disease a long time ago. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will cause your reading progress to disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. Fuck. While Yingshu was daydreaming, the strangeness on his shoulder made his expression change drastically. He touched a hard thing. Don't get me wrong, it's not a face, nor is it a long strip. It grows on his shoulder, and the texture seems a bit like wood. It seems that a piece of wood has grown on him. This. Yingshu didn't know whether to be happy or panicked for a moment. Wood release is tempting, but he doesn't want to turn into a tree. These eyes, are you from the Uchiha clan? No wonder. Just when Iki was confused, the man he knocked away stood up unscathed and patted the place on his armor where Iki hit him. This made the Kumogakure ninjas who had just rushed to help Iki a little confused for a moment. Uchiha. Osamu was also among the people supporting Iki. At this moment, he looked at Iki's pair of red eyes with a complicated expression. Masayoshi, I'm sorry, brother Osamu. Iki sighed. Actually, my name is Uchiha Masayoshi, from Konoha. Please believe me, I have no ill intentions towards you. I just got lost. Shut up. You liar. Why did you save me? Why? The stubborn Osamu almost shed tough tears and shouted with red eyes. This made Iki unable to deal with it. At this time, the Ab brothers, who were fighting with the Four Tails Jinchuriki, also retreated. At the same time, on the ridges on both sides, one after another Iwagakure ninja appeared. Boy, you are not a Kumogakure man. What a pity. AI turned his back to Iki and said with suppressed anger. It was obvious that his anger was not directed at Iki, but at the surrounding Iwagakure. There was no doubt that their group that came to infiltrate the Iwagakure was in big trouble. There were countless Iwagakure ninjas, including 2 Jinchuriki. It seems we have to cooperate. Iki let out a breath and gradually mobilized his chakra. Leave the tail to me, I can hold him off for a while. As for the other Iwagakure, I'll leave it to you Kumogakure brothers. Although we don't belong to the same camp, we hope that we can still be friends after the war. If we are still alive by that time. At this moment, Iki's situation is a bit delicate. There are about 3 dozen people on the field, and the Iwagakure who are coming one after another are still an unknown. Among these 3 people, there are 3 forces, Iwagakure, Kumogakure, and Konoha. Well, he is the only one in Konoha. Logically speaking, his existence, in this situation, is infinitely equivalent to cannon fodder or a prisoner, and his fate is already determined. Hideki chose the one who was the strongest on paper, the Jinchuriki of Hobi, Han. He had 2 reasons for this choice. First, he needed to show off his muscles and intimidation to avoid being alone in a lowly position among the 3 strongest men. Second, Hobi's boiling escape would be very useful for his research. Third, one-on-one is the most suitable situation for running away. In the previous battle with Madara, he defeated Madara, but lost the dignity of a 6th ranked man. Now, he has to find him. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Chapter 141 Ninja Technique, World Nuclear Peace. Kill these bastards. AI accepted Yingshu's proposal, or even if he didn't accept it, there was no better way. At this moment, they have a common enemy Iwagakure. As for whether Yingshu can take down the 5 Tails Jinchuriki, it's none of his business. If he can, he will take down Yingshu. If he can't, he will take down the 5 Tails Jinchuriki together. At this moment, Yingshu has an Uchiha flame fan in his left hand, a large sickle in his right hand, a large scroll behind his back, and a piece of wood growing on his shoulder. His opponent is Han, the 5 Tails Jinchuriki, a steam ninja, and also a physical ninja. In terms of chakra volume, the 2 are probably about the same. Yingshu has the bloodline of the 1,000 hands, and Han also has the 5 tails in his body. In terms of taijutsu, Iki felt that it was 70:30. He was not very good at taijutsu, but he had 3 Magatama. So let's use ninjutsu to defeat the enemy. Determined to defeat Iki, he realized this in his heart. He glanced at the shadow clone hiding in a pile of rocks. That was what he used to record the battlefield. After this battle, he might be able to decipher the old purple-haired melting escape, the Han-haired boiling escape, and the AI-haired lightning escape chakra mode at the same time. Come on. Your opponent is Uchiha Masayoshi, Iki shouted, and then rushed to Han. Hiss. Han's cold eyes were gradually blocked by steam, and steam kept pouring out of his armor. Facing the charging Yingshu, he was constantly accumulating strength. Han is not a perfect Jinchuriki, either now or in the future. He can only borrow part of the power of the tailed beast, even when he transforms into the tailed beast mode. The 5-tailed boiling escape is mostly used to amplify physical skills in Han's hands. It is worth mentioning that the strange power of the boiling escape is very similar to the strange power of the Senju clan. Han took a deep breath. Looking at Yingshu rushing towards him with scarlet flashing in his eyes, he felt a little regretful in his heart. It's a pity that you are an Uchiha. Just an Uchiha. You may be able to see through my movements, but you didn't miss the opportunity. Sizzle, steam was spreading, but Han's figure had disappeared. When he appeared again, he had come to the side of Yingshu. You picked the wrong opponent, Uchiha. Han's voice was very calm, as if he could already see the ending. Damn, he's fast. Yingshu felt a little sour. He found that, when he turned into a little Superman, his speed seemed to be about the same as Han's. Sure enough, I still have to study the lightning chakra mode. The speed is slow, and I really suffer. Yingshu muttered in his heart, and then silently blocked Han's flame fan in front of him. Uchiha. Counterattack. Come on, please kill me. Yingshu suddenly injected chakra into the flame fan, the amount of which was comparable to 0.15 Kakashi. This weapon is exclusive to Madara, and Yingshu doesn't know how powerful he can exert, so he dare not be careless. But it worked unexpectedly. Han punched the flame fan, but the impact did not appear. Instead, the strength and chakra were like a stone sinking into the sea, and there was no effect at all. What's going on? Question mark? Han was shocked. Yingshu was also shocked. But he was not shocked by the defensive power of the flame fan, but by the commotion in his shoulder. He found that, when he held the flame fan, he could mobilize the chakra that had been suppressed on his shoulders for the past 2 days. Warm reminder, the problem of saving bookshelves across devices for logged-in users has been corrected. If you still cannot save, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the cookies of your browser, and then log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. This. Yingshu had a strange expression, and he instantly thought of something. The flame fan is made of branches of the sacred tree. The sacred tree, the 10-tailed beast, the outer path demon statue, the white zetsu. Question mark? So the chakra on his shoulder is not the would escape disease, but the power of the 10-tailed beast. Question mark? Absolutely. Come again. Han didn't believe it, and steam gushed wildly. In the flash of his figure, he came to the front of Yingshu and kicked Yingshu's neck with a whip kick. Uchiha, shoot again. Han's speed was indeed very fast, but Yingshu, who was in a defensive posture, moved even more slowly. Han still needed to use instant body movement and maneuver the attack, while Yingshu only needed to twist his body and raise his arm. Bang! There was no rebound. After all, the way chakra works was kinetic energy rather than ninjutsu, so Han still got a muffled sound. But this time Han did not stop at all. His figure was like an afterimage, and steam was continuously released. While he was attacking crazily, the steam around Yingshu became more and more dense. In this case, your Sharingan can't keep up with my movements. I told you, you picked the wrong opponent, Uchiha. Han's eyes gradually became cold, and suddenly, the touch on his fist returned to normal. Han was overjoyed. Finally, he hit the target. It's always you who picked the wrong opponent, damn it. Yingshu's voice rang out, but it was outside the steam. The target Han hit turned into a puff of smoke, or rather, a ball of hydrogen and oxygen mixture. Fire style, great fire extinguishing. Yingshu used Uchiha Madara's tone, Uchiha Madara's seal, and Uchiha Madara's technique. A great fireball was sprayed out. It saves mana, doesn't embarrass anyone, and the key is that Han doesn't know it in the steam. It doesn't matter even if he knows. After all, he just wants to light a fire. Well, set the hydrogen escape on fire. Boom. The explosion resounded throughout the valley. The Iwagakure, Kumogakure, including the Ab brothers and Yukari, who were fighting, all looked over. They only saw the flames rising to the sky, and hundreds of Uchiha Masayoshi. Yingshu carried the flaming fan and sickle on his shoulders in front of him. His eyes were neither sad nor happy, and his chakra was quickly mobilized. Goodbye, my dear brother Asam. Yingshu murmured in his heart. Afterwards, with the sound of the hydrogen escapes turning into balls of hydrogen and oxygen mixture. Ninjutsu. World nuclear peace. Boom 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 boom. A huge burst of fire put out the fire, and then a chain explosion reaction occurred in the whole valley. Yingshu turned around calmly, and he didn't even look at the flames that filled the sky. A real man never looks back to see the explosion. The real old man never stops for even a moment. The explosion was loud and powerful. Yingshu knew that the only one who could die from this move was Ioluo. AI has the lightning chakra mode, and B has the 8-tailed beast to protect his body. Han and Z have the 4-tailed beast and the 1-tailed beast. This amount of pressure is not enough to kill them. Roar. The first roar sounded. I don't know which Jinchuriki entered the tailed beast mode. Yingshu ran away. Everything was done by Uchiha Masayoshi, and it had nothing to do with him, Otsutsuki Yingshu. However, he didn't run a few steps. Soon after he put the flame fan back into the scroll, Yingshu suddenly felt dizzy for no apparent reason. As a medical ninja, Yingshu quickly began to check himself, but found that the chakra in his body was in chaos. Not only that, his left shoulder was also heavy, and this heaviness was spreading. And the direction of spread was from outside to inside, and from top to bottom, straight to the heart. This, don't mess with me anymore. Yingshu's breathing was heavy, his limbs were weak, and he felt that his whole body was hollowed out in an instant. Warm reminder, in order to facilitate everyone's book selection, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. Everyone can try it. Chapter 142, Minato, your apprentice is out. Yingshu is suddenly inexplicably irritated. It's only been a few days. Question mark? From the 7 ninjas to the Shura rage spots of the ninja world, to the 100 cloud hidden man and the Ab brothers, to the 4-tailed 5-tailed Jinchuriki. So irritated. He is less than 11 years old, and he has only traveled through time for 5.5 years. He just wants to live. He longs for peace, and his only wish is to make enough money and then go fishing. What's wrong with him? What's wrong? Why does he encounter these losers again and again? Ha ha ha. Beads of sweat fell from Yingshu's face. The soul of an adult has taken effect. Life is not only poetry in the distance, fantasy and romance, but also reality and shit. Iki forced himself to calm down. There were 2 things he had to do now. First, run. He couldn't stay. He had to find a safe place quickly. Iwagakure was in the north of Konoha. If he ran south, he would definitely not reach the gate of Iwagakure village. Second, suppress the chakra on his shoulders. The first thing Iki thought of was not Madara's restriction. What he thought of was the death necklace on his neck. Because Madara didn't have time yet, what White Zetsu injected into him was only a repairing substance, which he had analyzed before digging out of the hole. What he encountered along the way was too outrageous. The 7 ninjas, the old Madara and Ab brothers, and the 45-tailed Jinchuriki. If Tsunagakure hadn't surrendered, Iki felt that he would have to encounter Chihiro's puppet army. Are they really complete? Some things exist if you believe in them, and do not exist if you do not believe in them. Fighting towards death, in broad daylight, the pagoda of thunder and fire suppresses a river monster. His head was getting more and more confused, and Yingshu was about to shut down. Destroy it. Yingshu roared loudly. Even if Tsunayoshi had to hit him on the head 100 times, he would accept it. The key is this death necklace. He really can't afford to mess with it. It happened in a flash. The heaviness on his shoulders and the buzzing dizziness in his head made his decision somewhat impulsive. The necklace that Tsunayoshi gave him, the chakra crystal from the first generation Hokage, was directly crushed by him. Crushed. At this time, Yingshu's eyes were already groggy, as if he had spun 2.5 teals of hot water. Faintly, he did see a green light. The green light seemed very spiritual, very. Yingshu didn't know. He had no intention of watching. His legs mechanically moved forward. He wanted to go back to Konoha. He wanted to eat ramen. He wanted to sleep in his big bed. That's it. You can say it was a daze, or you can say it was relying on the last bit of firm will. Although Yingshu's brain was basically shut down, his body kept rushing forward. Not only did he rush forward, he also kept using chakra to suppress the chakra on his shoulders that wanted to spread to his heart. It was completely muscle memory and chakra memory. What Iki didn't know was the chakra of the first Hokage, the god of the ninja world, the son of the sage of the way. It was always hovering over his body. To be precise, it was on his shoulders. And the Shura of the ninja world was actually the son of the sage of the way who had transformed himself, using the Samsara based on Hashirama cells, and through the outer path demon statue, which was the prototype of the 10 tails body of the god tree, to create the white Zetsu factor. That was the strange substance on Iki's shoulder. It was reacting with Hashirama's chakra. The Senju and the Uchiha, the sage body and the sage eyes, the combination of the two can obtain all things in the world. This is true. But it lacks the power of the way, which cannot be achieved without the transformation of Otsutsuki. Iki is not an Otsutsuki Tenjin, he is a Konoha Tenjin. He can fire madly, but he does not have the power of the Tao. But now, warm reminder, in order to facilitate everyone's book selection, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. Maybe, he can have it. Whoosh. 2 shurikens came towards him. Minato did not change his face, and after 0.01 seconds, he had flashed behind the eye Wagakure. Spiral Flash Super Rondo Roar. Well, Flying Thunder God plus Rasengan. The naming of this part has to be Minato. The Rasengan hit the enemy's back. Minato did not hold back. In Konoha he was the little sun. In front of the enemy, he was a golden flash. I'll leave it to you from now on, Shui-kun. After dealing with the enemy, Minato finally put on a smile. No problem. A man wearing sunglasses, conservative clothes but with an avant-garde hairstyle said solemnly, and then he made hand seals with both hands, and many bugs suddenly ran out from his hair, and wrapped up the eye Wagakure. The bugs lifted the body of the eye Wagakure, and a Burame Shui made another hand seal, to summon a shadow clone, and set off for the Konoha camp in a moment. The eye Wagakure has been much more obedient these days. Minato, and the Kumogakure too. A XXXXL fat man with hair 100 times longer than Minato appeared and said, "If things go on like this, the war will be over soon." "I hope so, Choza-kun." Minato responded, then looked into the dense forest in the distance. Here is the territory of the Land of Fire. Further ahead is the Land of Rain. Iwagakure had once fought here, and most of the A-level missions and all the S-level missions he received were basically carried out around this battlefield. Support, raids, and endless fighting. But now, Iwagakure seems to have begun to retreat. Not only Iwagakure, but also Kumogakure. It is not known whether they are looking for another attacking method, or is it really as Choza said, the war is about to end? Minato. Suddenly, teammate Burame Shui called out, her voice a little serious. Something happened. Whoosh. The two of them immediately became alert, and one of them appeared in front of Burame Shui in an instant. This teammate who was usually taciturn suddenly became so serious, which made the two of them immediately serious. "What's wrong?" Minato asked, and looked around at the same time. "It's my insect clone that are left in the camp." Burame Shui looked at Minato. "Your apprentice named Yingshu. Something happened." Yingshu opened his eyes, but found that it was a little dark. He pulled off the slightly warm wet towel covering his forehead, sat up, and then found that he was lying in a tent. There were heavy footsteps outside, and a ray of moonlight shone in through the gap in the tent. "Are you saved?" Hideki rubbed his eyebrows. The last picture in his mind seemed to be that he was saved by two ninjas wearing Konoha green vests. Then this should be Konoha camp. Hideki breathed out. He felt weak all over, but soon, his eyes focused, and his muscles tensed. He thought of something he wanted. "Where's my scroll?" That's his entire net worth. Okay, just lying next to the bed. Wait. Yingshu's expression tightened again, and then he remembered the wood growing on his shoulders. And, reaching out and touching it, the skin is smooth and elastic, and the muscles underneath are hard, but the feel is completely different from wood. "Are you cured?" Yingshu raised his eyebrows, not knowing whether to be sad or happy. The symptom disappeared, but would release. Would release. Yingshu suddenly felt something strange in his heart, and instinctively raised his hand, and his chakra surged. Immediately afterwards, an incredible scene appeared. Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 would release. At this moment, in Ikki's palm, there is a tender sapling. Of course, it would be more appropriate to describe it as a branch. After all, it has a leaf on it, and most importantly, it is very tender. It is so tender that it seems to be able to squeeze out water, which is completely different from the wood release in Ikki's seal. Ikki was confused at this moment. This is most likely wood release. So, is this really wood release? At this moment, Iki's heart is full of entanglements, hesitations, and rejections. What he wants is wood release, the supreme Buddha, not wood branch release. How can it be so tender? It can't be that. Could it be that my wood release is not as good as Yamato's? Sachiko is also stronger than this. Iki was puzzled. Yamato's 3 rooms and 1 hall technique, combined with the white zetsu, can also open the great Buddha. Although Obito doesn't use wood release very often, he also used the grafting technique plus Camu plus Hell's Chaos to bring in the mist invisibility at the beginning. Why is it that he couldn't figure it out? So Iki decided to think differently. Investigate things to gain knowledge, discard the surface to see the essence. His Sharingan lit up, and he was about to enter scientist mode. Earth attribute chakra plus water attribute chakra plus yang attribute chakra to inject vitality. Is it a problem of proportion? Iki raised his eyebrows. An idea came to him. Iki tried to increase the amount of earth attribute chakra. The feeling of opening wood release is very subtle, like instinct, but it is basically the same as the process of using other ninjutsu. In short, his macro manipulation is still useful. Yingshu thinks that the reason why his initial wood release is so tender and watery is most likely because his proficiency in water release is much stronger than earth release. After all, that was the foundation of his road to wealth. And facts have proved that Yingshu's guess is correct. The wood release used for the first time is no longer a branch, but very similar to Obito in the original time and space, in the form of a wooden stick. It is darker, harder, and much thicker than before. Yingshu immediately understood. There is no need to reduce the quality of water attribute chakra. It is better to improve the proficiency of earth attribute. That's right. Wood release, water plus earth plus yang. Yingshu has been practicing water release and yang release from the beginning, and many ninjutsu are developed based on water release. Yang escape. He has practiced medical ninjutsu with Tsuna for more than a year, so it can be said that he is very stable. In comparison, earth escape seems a bit behind, which should be the reason why the wood escape he just used is so tender. It lacks a bit of heaviness. So, I have to find the old man as soon as possible to inherit his earth technique. Yingshu raised his eyebrows again. He felt that, although his wood escape was not original, the upper limit should not be too low. At least it should be stronger than Yamato plus white zetsu. After all, getting and mastering are 2 completely different concepts. What makes Yingshu even more excited is, now, in addition to the super long blue bar passive blood limit of the Senju clan and the active blood limit of the Uchiha clan's Sharingan, finally, there is another Kekui limit of chakra form and nature. When he thoroughly studies wood release, finds the rules of chakra nature fusion and changes, and deciphers the secret of Kekui limit, will other Kekui limits be far away? Melting release, boiling release, burning release, Orochi release, ice release, dust release, then microscopic operation to the atomic level, and then obtain true nuclear fusion and hydrogen release? Question mark? Is it very far away? Is it very difficult? Is it very unrealistic? Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot and save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. Also, not everyone is called Otsutsuki Iki. Hey, you're awake, Iki-kun. Iki was almost scared to death. Minato sensei. Long time no see. Iki greeted him with lingering fear. Fortunately, he has the habit of turning off the Sharingan after use, otherwise he would be exposed this time. It was a close call. This damn little son. Why hasn't the little son's hair grown out yet? I feel relieved to see you so energetic. Minato breathed a sigh of relief and walked to Iki's side, wanting to reach out and touch Iki's head, but his hand suddenly stopped halfway. Iki-kun, have you grown taller? Minato is 179.2 centimeters tall, about the same height as Iki. Although the two are 10 years apart in age, they really look like the same age now. Moreover, the master and apprentice haven't seen each other for a while. Iki's changes are not small, which makes Minato always feel a little strange now. Maybe I developed earlier. Iki replied absent-mindedly. Speaking of the height issue, he himself is not sure. When he was practicing creation again, he was always very careful because he was worried about overdrawing his vitality. But there was no way, he just kept growing taller. He even bought clothes 3 times last winter, which made him feel distressed. Are you still feeling unwell, Iki-kun? Seeing that Iki was a little absent-minded, Minato's expression suddenly became serious. Although the medical ninja had confirmed that the child was just overconsumed and there was no big problem, Minato still couldn't help but worry for a while. Although Kushina would write to him about the children's feelings in Konoha. But as a teacher, as a guiding jonin, he hasn't seen his students for a long time. And Minato sighed. He already knew what Kiryu had done. Although he didn't know how dangerous it was, from the location where Iki appeared, which was almost half the distance of the ninja world compared to Kiryu, he knew how much Iki had suffered. As a teacher, he couldn't show up to the children in time. Minato was very self-blaming. It's alright, don't worry, teacher. Iki paused, then raised his eyebrows. You may not believe this, but I'm a medical ninja now. And I'm also very good at using the Rasengan. I already know many versions of the Rasengan. Iki hinted at something crazily. As a teacher, there's not much you can teach me anymore. So, quickly hand over what you've got, little son. Flying Thunder God's hydrogen escape self-destructs his shadow clone to blast the army at a fixed point. It's exciting just to think about it. Is that so? You're worthy of it, Iki-kun. Minato smiled and praised, but his eyes were indeed a little dim. Iki saw it, and was happy in his heart. Flying Thunder God, Flying Thunder God, Flying Thunder God. Oh, right. At this time, Minato suddenly thought of something, and said with a smile. I have sent a message to Senior White Fang. You have been unconscious for a day and a night. If you calculate the time, Kakashi and Obito should be here tomorrow night. Iki was stunned. He was not unconscious for a day and a night. Seeing Iki's expression, Minato's eyes also showed longing. I really want to see them soon. But before that, Iki, can you tell me about your experience during this period? For example, your eyes? Minato asked tentatively. And at this moment, Iki was struck by lightning. Warm reminder, the problem of logged-in users saving bookshelves across devices has been corrected. If you still cannot save, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the cookies of the browser, log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. Chapter 144, the cards are shown. As a 6th ranked ninja, Iki never feels lucky, he only takes advantage of his enemy's lucky mentality. And it shows. Whether it's from Minato's expression, tone, eyes, or even his hairstyle. Iki knows that his Sharingan may have been exposed without his awareness. I heard from the ninja who found you, that when they found you, you had 3 Magatama in your eyes. So, you actually opened your Sharingan a long time ago, right? Just when Iki was thinking about how to respond, Minato asked him again in a cautious tone. Iki didn't know how he should answer. I picked this eye, I dug it, I robbed it. Anyway, it has nothing to do with Uchiha. Do you believe it? Then do you know your life experience? Minato continued to ask questions, and his tone became more cautious. A child, lonely and helpless since childhood, grew up alone. But one day he found that he was not alone, and he had the characteristics of a tribe. In fact, this is not necessarily the case, especially in the eyes of Minato, who has both emotion and reason. This child must be very panicked. He would worry whether he would be accepted by the tribe. Or maybe, he was not happy about his suddenly awakened bloodline. Minato didn't know. What he knew was that this matter could not be hidden. He failed to teach his students anything on their growth path. At this moment, he wanted to fulfill his responsibility as a teacher and make up for it. I don't know. Obito almost died that time, and then I opened my eyes. Yingshu told the truth. It's not that he was showing off, because he himself didn't know what his life experience was. He is obviously a member of the Senju clan, and strictly speaking, he is the last male of the Senju clan. To be honest, he has even mastered would release now. But he, a 100% Senju clan member, has a pair of Sharingan. What can he do? He is also confused. He wants to find the old man to ask clearly, but the key is that the old man seems to be avoiding him and refuses to show up. Iki doesn't want to reveal both the Senju and Uchiha identities. If he has to reveal them, Iki chooses to reveal the Senju. After all, he is protected by the Tsuna, which proves that he is still a Hokage. It is not a big problem if he is stable. It is different if he has the blood of the Uchiha. He can now imagine how Danzo will react after knowing the news. You don't say anything. You don't do anything. I will never trust you. You evil Uchiha. Sign. Well, Danzo died at the age of 53, and his body was basically rotten when it was found, but he still insisted. If this goes on, I feel like my forehead will have to be increased sooner or later. Iki sighed in his heart. Since it's not exposed, forget it. I've revealed my cards, I'm the evil Uchiha. Seeing Iki admit it, Minato was melancholy for a long time, and finally only sighed. It's all my fault. I couldn't protect you. Alas. At this moment, I don't know if it's because of his hairstyle, but Iki feels that Minato seems to have aged a lot. Don't blame you, teacher. In fact, it doesn't matter to me whether he has these eyes or not. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid being unable to find it next time. It doesn't matter, Iki said in a complicated tone. Why do I feel that Minato is the one being comforted? I got the wrong episode. Minato-san. Minato-san. At this time, a silly voice sounded outside the counter. The counter door was opened, and the moonlight came in a little, and then it disappeared. It turned out that Akimichi Choza had come. There's a mission. Ziwei is ready. Hey, you're awake, Iki boy. One more strange title. Iki raised his hand to greet. Hello, Akimichi senpai, long time no see. Why do you look thinner? Hi. No problem. Akimichi Choza patted his belly. I'll treat you to a barbecue in Konoha. Okay, Iki became interested when he heard about barbecue. This was probably the best news he had received today. Would release. Can it smell like free barbecue? Ha. Then you take a rest first. I'll try my best to finish the task at hand before Kakashi and Obito come. Minato stood up and looked at the sunshine on Iki's face, and then he breathed a sigh of relief. Minato sensei, be careful. After sending Minato away, Iki's expression suddenly became serious. His Sharingan was exposed. He didn't know why, but he always had a bad feeling. I have to prepare well. Iki took a deep breath. No matter what, life had to go on. He couldn't stop on the road to becoming stronger. Since he already had the would release blood limit, it would be appropriate to use it as a stepping stone and quickly find the codes for other blood limits. Iki closed his eyes, thinking about his past research, and also thinking about the few lava release special moves that he had recently collected. Then, let's start with Orochi release. At the same time, in a corner of the ninja world, in Madara's base number 2. Why don't you let me bring your weapons here too, Madara? In front of the old Madara with more tubes, stuck behind him stood a Konoha ninja wearing a Konoha green vest. If Minato was here, he would recognize at a glance that it was this person who told him that Iki had opened the 3 Megatama. I want him to come to me in person. I want him to come to me in person and beg him. He must know that in this world, I'm the only one who can help him. Madara said lightly, and the Konoha ninja in front of him also gradually melted into the appearance of a desperate Afei. So, should I take the child to Konoha next? Naju spread his hands and said, the child is still dreaming. As he spoke, a mummy emerged from the ground. The bandage on the mummy's head untied automatically, and the person lying inside was none other than Uchiha Kitakage. Naju, who had recovered his form, came behind Uchiha Kitakage, opened his arms, and the two gradually merged into one. Naju, just like that, possessed Uchiha Kitakage's body. This is his last value. Uchiha Madara glanced at Uchiha Afei in front of him, and then slowly closed his eyes. Go, reveal the darkness of Konoha, and the despicable and cowardly mask of that clan. Let that child know that the only ones in the world who are qualified to call themselves Uchiha are him and me. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title by searching, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Chapter 145, Blow Up the Bridge. Iki, my tree. The next day, at 12:01 noon, 2 young men appeared at the front camp of the 1st Battalion of Konoha stationed in Iwagakure and Kumogakure. Both boys were wearing green vests, one had the Uchiha clan emblem on his arm, and had the hairstyle of Uchiha Madara from the Valley of the End. One was a white-haired one-eyed dragon, with a forehead protector worn at an angle, covering his right eye. People who didn't know would think it was due to his personality. Kakashi and Obito were a full day faster than Minato expected, and the moment Team 7 reunited again, Obito's emotions that had been accumulated for many days finally couldn't be held back. He cried out wow on the spot, and then hugged Iki tightly. "You scared me to death, Iki. You scared me to death. I knew you were crying for no reason. It's Sachi, don't get excited, I'm fine, really, other people are watching me, it's Sachi." This scene made Iki confused. He understood Obito's feelings. After all, the two of them grew up together, got beaten together, skipped classes together, played fathers together, ran away together, and had a life and death friendship. "You can cry, and you can hug me if you want. You can be more affectionate, please don't show off. You will easily be misunderstood if you do this, it's Sachi." Iki wanted to ask Kakashi for help, but he found that Kakashi was also holding his head high, and something crystal clear was falling down his cheek. Iki was silent. Maybe this is called bond. If possible. He still wants to find a few girls to build bonds. And speaking of it, those students of Konoha should grow up, right? That's what happened. It's the guy who attacked Sachi-sama that time. I suspect he is from the Uchiha clan, because he also has the Sharingan, and is very powerful. If I wasn't handsome, and if that guy wasn't careless, I might not have been able to escape. Oh. It was a close call. Oh, what a pity. Obito couldn't open the manger key at all. Does it have to be in front of someone who dies, before it can be opened? Iki looked at Kakashi, and then at Minato. Who should I choose? Anyway, it's good to be able to come. Minato said with a smile. I just received a letter from Kushina. She is now in Konoha, preparing a feast for us. It just so happens that my wartime mission here has also ended, so why don't we set out tonight and go to Konoha first? Minato suggested. The smile on his face formed a strong contrast with the three serious faces of the three boys in Team 7. Master, wife. Kakashi murmured, feeling that his head seemed to be aching a little. Feast. Obito was also thoughtful, and he remembered that he was hospitalized for a week due to food poisoning. Yingshu swallowed his saliva and raised his hand weakly. Well, Minato-sensei, we still have mission to complete. Iki quickly took out the small scroll that Sarutobi Hiruzen gave him from his pocket. So many things have happened recently that he almost forgot that he went out to Konoha just to become a Konoha Jonin. Warm reminder, there are functions such as switch between simplified and traditional Chinese, adjust font size, and reading background color in the upper right corner of the page. It's really annoying to think about it. A lot of planning, a lot of predictions, and a lot of preparations before departure were basically not used. Yes, if the preparations were useful, what's the point of the damn necklace? Fortunately, that thing is gone. Maybe it will make the master's brain explode. But it doesn't matter, it will only hurt if it hits, but if it doesn't, you will really die. Discarding the death necklace was the most correct thing Iki had done since traveling through time. Iki's proposal was unanimously agreed by Team 7. Minato finally agreed with a smile, but the smile on his face looked a little stiff. After the children become Jonin, they really don't need him as a teacher anymore. Minato expressed his blessing. At the same time, he secretly made a decision in his heart. This Jonin mission will be regarded as the last assessment of Team 7. As long as these three children show enough talent in time and space, he will do his best and ask the Hokage to grant authorization. Flying Thunder God, as an S-level forbidden technique, whether it is to be learned or taught, requires the consent of the Hokage. This is the only thing he can teach these three little guys. That night, Team 7, which was about to set off for Konoha, took advantage of the night and sped straight to the Kanabi Bridge. This magical bridge was the beginning of White Fang's downfall in the original time. It was also the starting point for Obito to become a pyramid scheme leader. Kakashi shut himself off for more than 10 years because of this. And it was after this battle that Minato officially evolved into the Golden Flash. And now, White Fang is not dead. He is still showing his prowess on the battlefield, whether it is on the front line or in Konoha. Obito was not abducted. He has opened 3 Magatama and received Jiraiya's teachings. He is ready to become the next generation of the Toad Sage. Kakashi has never shut himself off. His right eye is no longer a gift from Obito before his death, but a real trophy that he snatched back from the battlefield. And Uchiha Madara and Black Zetsu. Iki stood on the surging river, his lips curled slightly, showing his confidence. Madara. His men are about to be defeated. Maybe he still has a treacherous heart, but if you have the guts, why don't you come? The 3 Magatama lit up. Yes, Iki has already opened his eyes to Obito and Kakashi. At this time, he was not restrained at all. On the contrary, the reactions of the two, especially Obito, made him laugh and cry. Kakashi thinks that the Sharingan is useless. If it is useful, why is Obito still so stupid? Obito's first reaction was, then won't Iki be able to move to the Uchiha clan in the future? Live happily as neighbors? Question mark? What Iki didn't tell Obito was that it was impossible for him to move to live with the Uchiha. He didn't even plan to put an Uchiha in front of his name. It wasn't for the sake of stabilizing Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo. It couldn't be stabilized. It was simply because of a certain old man who didn't like to show up. Speaking of which, as a person of the same period as Madara, the Senju clan is still strong enough to be alive today without the help of the Gitoku Golem. Iki still wants to inherit the old man's earth technique, so he doesn't want to bring trouble to others. The Kanabi bridge is in front. Kids. Minato roughly judged the Iwagakure's deployment and said, next, let's make a plan. It's Sachiko, Kakashi, use the number 3 pressure infiltration attack plan. Minato was still considering the tactics, but Iki had already made arrangements. Kakashi, go and remove the hidden stakes. Doko will attract the firepower, and I will be responsible for covering and suppressing. Try to end the battle within 10 minutes, and then we will go back to Konoha to eat ramen. Raw. Obito and Kakashi entered the state instantly. Minato on the side. Warm reminder, if you can't find the book title by searching, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Chapter 146 Sorry, the pig's feet of the night are mine. Team 7 showed Minato what the advanced tactics of modern team cooperation in the ninja world are. The word advanced was emphasized. The battle signal was sounded by Iki's covering water jutsu. Water jutsu water continuous bombs. Iki was not stuttering. It was simply because the name multiple water bombs was not domineering enough. So he believed in the power of repetition. Tens of thousands of water bombs were thrown at the bridge in succession. Enemy attack. The sound of broken voice due to the sharpness of the gun rang on the other side of the river, and the entire Iwagakure position became restless. But Minato did not realize that many ninjas appeared on the bridge in an instant and launched earth jutsu for defense. The Iwagakure on both sides of the Nishiko River also began to attack this side. Leave the left side in the front to me. Quickly take over the right side. Iki stirred up his chakra and activated the Thousand Hands chakra mode. His whole body seemed to be wrapped in a layer of black chakra coat, but he did not blend into the night, but became brighter. The left side is the territory of the Iwagakure, where there are the most enemies. Obito and Kakashi rushed in from the right side, one bright and one dark. The mission of Team 7 is to blow up the Komubi Bridge, but the meaning of this mission is to take back the territory of the Fire Country. It's too chaotic. Minato glanced at Obito and Kakashi who were rushing towards the enemy, and he already felt that it was very chaotic. But Iki was even more powerful. He rushed directly to the enemy's base camp. Minato immediately decided to support Iki. But soon, a scene that shocked Minato appeared. Iki first made a seal to summon a dozen shadowy figures. All Iki's movements were in unison, and while sprinting quickly, his hands were also quickly making seals. Water style. Great Water Dragon Formation. One Yang style Water Dragon Bullet. Iki called it the Great Water Dragon Bullet. 2 Yang style Water Dragon Bullets. Iki called it the Great Double Yellow Water Dragon Bullet. Those 10 or so powerful Water Dragon Bullets form up. Minato only felt that the water level had dropped a lot. Iki's water escape pressure almost drained the river. The water dragon roared. The water escape raged. The river water came up from the sky and rushed to the Iwagakure defense line. Water escape. The reason why it is called sea escape is because of its inclusiveness and coverage. Senjutsu Birima. With a water dragon formation, the Iwagakure defense line was like a ruin. It was defeated in one encounter. The Iwagakure genin was rushed to pieces, and the Chunin could barely defend for a while with the earth escape. Even though the reinforcement from the rear was still replenishing the battlefield, Iki came to lead the dance from the beginning. Soon, he will go back to Konoha. The Sharingan, which has the highest priority, has been exposed. He doesn't know what will greet him. To be honest, Iki has been in Konoha for so long, and although he has little sense of belonging, he has some feelings for it. He has a house and a nanny. Now he is finally settling down, facing the sea and the spring flowers every day. But his low-key life is about to end. Then he will be high profile. The Sharingan has been exposed, but he still has the Senju as a trump card, and the wood release as a trump card. He is still breaking the blood limit, and he is still continuing to develop his hydrogen escape. What was exposed to Konoha is his weakest ability at the moment. Yes, Minato is observing the students, to see who has the talent of time and space, and who can inherit the flying thunder god. And Iki. He just wants to show off now. Swish, swish, swish. A dozen shurikens rushed towards Yingshu's face. Yingshu's pupils quickly locked onto them, but he jumped high. At the same time, he slapped the scroll, and the Uchiha flame fan and the big sickle appeared in his hands. It must be said that this thing is quite good, but it is somewhat sensitive. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid being unable to find it next time. Yingshu does not plan to develop with the Uchiha clan, but he will definitely not be able to avoid being labeled as an Uchiha. In this case, why not make the label a little bigger? Sorry, it's Sachiko, Kakashi. The pig's trotter tonight is yours. With a fierce swing of the flame fan, all the shurikens and kunai in front and around him were useless. Yingshu rushed into the crowd, and with the scepter in his hand, he began to reap lives. For the mission of breaking the Jonin, the god of death followed him all the way. Now, it's time for the god of death to do some serious work. Blood was flying wildly, and roars and screams were intertwined. Yingshu held a flame fan in his left hand and a large scepter in his right hand. His Sharingan was full of power to lock the enemy. He perfectly integrated the fighting methods of the Senju and Uchiha. Because of his concern for his companions, the Iwagakure did not dare to use ninjutsu against the enemy. At most, he used earth escape to wrap his fist to increase the power. But at this moment, anyone who dared to stand in front of Yingshu could only dance. Obito and Kakashi were also very efficient. One used fire style to subdue the enemy, and the other used lightning style to attack. The two of them supported each other and advanced all the way. In less than 10 minutes, they had already reached the Konoha territory end of the bridge. Iki harvested lives along the way and was 10 seconds faster than them. When Team 7 gathered, Iki, who was covered in blood, looked like a demon. Kakashi, who was still practicing the Byakugan, glanced at Iki and was shocked on the spot. The chakra of a normal person is emitted from various acupuncture points, connecting the limbs and bones. The more chakra there is, the richer the light that the Byakugan can see. Iki is full of chakra, especially the center of his eyebrows. Kakashi just glanced at it and felt that his eyes were almost blinded. Obito didn't care about Iki's murderous aura. He stared at the halberd and gourd fan in Iki's hands. Is your martial arts any good? Why does it look a bit ugly? I picked it up when I was running away. It's still okay to use. Do you want to try it? Iki raised his eyebrows and threw it to Obito. Obito took it and played with it for a while. Just like in the original Time and Space, he was not interested and threw it back to Iki. Kakashi closed his eyes and spread his hands. Then, let's start. I haven't used that trick for a long time. Sure, let's see who hits more. The loser pays? Obito laughed immediately. Let me tell you, now I start with 10 shots. Kakashi stopped talking. He wanted to say that he was going for quality and efficiency, and that technique was about the amount of chakra. 1 shot each. Don't let Minato sensei wait too long. In the end, the considerate Iki stood up. Really, chakra? That's something only children do. The three of them jumped off the bridge, distanced themselves, and got ready. Water style, Great Water Dragon Bullet. Lightning style, Great Thunder Dragon Bullet. Fire style, Double-Headed Fire Dragon Bullet. Damn. Obito, what are you doing? We agreed to fire one shot each. Then don't blame me. Water Dragon Array. Up. Damn. Iki, you. You two did this on purpose. I'm just kidding, little Akon. In the midst of the joke, the Kanabi bridge eventually collapsed amidst the flames and explosions. Minato held soy sauce and looked at the scene in front of him. He was stunned for a long time and finally could only smile bitterly, and then his eyes gradually recalled the past. At that time, the three children also used this trick to pass the test. When Iki and Obito had a fight, he changed his hairstyle. Every little thing seemed to have happened yesterday, right in front of him. Minato smiled softly. The Sandaime-sama was right. The era will belong to these children, of course. Warm reminder, this site uses cookie technology to save your reading history and bookshelf, so clearing browser cookie data, reinstalling the browser and other operations will make your reading progress disappear. It is recommended to occasionally take a screenshot to save the bookshelf in case you can't find the novel you are reading. Chapter 147 Return to Konoha, Earth Technique. After blowing up the Komubi Bridge, Team 7 did not stop, but traveled day and night to Konoha. It was time to become a Jonin. After surviving a great disaster, reuniting after a long separation, and winning a great battle, the atmosphere on the way home must be relaxed and happy. Especially for Kakashi, the shame of his father was gone with the sound of boom. The stubborn stone buried in the hearts of the Hatake father and son disappeared. On the way, Minato was still quietly observing his three students who were about to graduate. There was no doubt that the best one was Iki. He was proficient in various ninjutsu, especially water escape, and his combat awareness and leadership skills were both top-notch. He also showed a certain talent for time and space. However, Flying Thunder God, as the most powerful time-space ninjutsu in the current ninja world, is the most difficult to practice among the many forbidden techniques of Konoha, and is also one of the most dangerous techniques. Minato is willing to teach, but he must be responsible for the safety of the children, and must be careful. Obito. Minato discovered that Obito did have a certain talent for time and space. Perhaps because he was the striker of Team 7, Obito often needed to attract firepower, but he couldn't really die. As for the control of distance, it was still pretty good. However, if that was all, it was obviously far from enough. Minato set his eyes on Kakashi. Among the three, Kakashi's control of short-distance space was very outstanding. Although he is inferior to Iki in medium and long distance, he is better than Obito. In a word, except for Obito, everyone else can do it. If Iki knew this, he would probably rub his handsome face. He had previously analyzed in great detail why Kakashi in the original time and space did not learn the original art of Flying Thunder God. However, facts have proved that Iki's analysis at that time was not wrong. It's just that he didn't know that Kakashi's bottomless Sharingan would become the freely switchable Sharingan now. The problem of chakra no longer exists. Although he can't be a copy ninja, the Kakashi in this time and space is not taking the open route. It's the blue route. When the blue lightning flashes, the enemy can only tremble. Minato made a decision in his heart. Although it may be a bit unfair to Obito, but I can only apologize. It's not that he doesn't want to teach. If he can, he would like to teach now. But if Obito launches Flying Thunder God, the upper body is launched successfully, but the lower body can't catch up. Shaking his head, Minato didn't dare to think about it. Still have to be cautious. Team 7 keeps moving forward. Finally, when it was dawn, they saw the familiar outline. Iki suddenly felt a little sour in his nose. Damn the bloody pants. I'm finally back. With Minato around, Team 7 naturally put the task of reporting the mission behind their minds. Isn't this the job of instructing a Jonin? Obito and Kakashi went home. As soon as they returned to Konoha, everyone was exhausted after the all-night battle and the journey. Yingshu was the same. He was tired. He just wanted to hurry back to his mansion, eat a bowl of noodles, and fall asleep. He was fully calculated this time, and would only be away from Konoha for 7 or 8 days. But when he returned home, he suddenly felt that things had changed. Warm reminder, the problem of logged-in users saving bookshelves across devices has been corrected. If it still cannot be saved, Please remember the contents of the bookshelf first. Clear the browser cookies, log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. Atsuna is not good, and Kumi is not good either. There was no dust in the house. Yingshu found that the ingredients in the kitchen were all fresh. It was estimated that they had just been bought not long ago, no more than 2 hours. The mastermind went gambling again. Yingshu raised his eyebrows, then suppressed the urge to hurry up and make a fortune, and went to his bedroom. He did not fall asleep directly, as he had unfinished work. Well, he opened the reel, took out the piles of detonating talismans inside, and put them neatly in batches. Yingshu was not used to sleeping on the detonating talismans. He was going to put the detonating talismans into small space reels. It felt too insecure to carry all his belongings with him when he went out. Yingshu put all the detonating talismans in batches into small reels, and then hid them in batches. However, when Yingshu was hiding the scroll, he opened the floor tile under the toilet trash can to put a few more trash in. The familiar scroll lying quietly inside made Yingshu stunned. He seemed to have seen this scroll before. The chakra training method of the Mori clan and the complete ninjutsu of the Senju clan given to him by the old man were both similar to this style. No, I remember those two were burned. Yingshu had a strange expression on his face, and he made a seal to call a shadow clone to open it. There was no sign that the room had been disturbed, but if a master came out, it would be hard to say. Maybe there is a trigger type restriction inside? The shadow clone opened the scroll expressionlessly, and after taking a look, his expression instantly became shocked. What's wrong? Yingshu, who was hiding outside the door, asked. Come and take a look yourself. The shadow clone directly threw the scroll to Yingshu, but did not choose to disappear. Yingshu didn't care, and opened it, and took a look, and he was really shocked. What caught his eye were 4 big characters, Earth Technique. Behind it were densely packed Ninja World characters, which did not stump Yingshu. He roughly glanced at it, and found that they were indeed all Super Earth Escape techniques. The old man called his Earth Escape technique the Earth Technique, and he was not bragging. Just the trick in it, the method of introducing chakra seals into the earth, opened Yingshu's eyes. To a certain extent, it is equivalent to not having to make hand seals, just standing on the ground, and the area where the chakra can spread is his domain. Yingshu couldn't help but sigh at how powerful the Great Pillar and Madara were in their time. Even in that era, the old man's strength was considered top-notch. The only ones who left their names in that era were the Shura of the Ninja World and the God of Ninja. At the peak of their careers, Tobirama couldn't even rank among them, and could only be a younger brother. It seems that this old man still has something in mind. Yingshu watched with great interest, and was no longer sleepy. Now, he is also considered half a sea-style ninja. When he grows a few more years and the bloodline of the Senju clan is fully developed, it will not be a problem for him to become an ocean-going ninja. With the addition of the Earth Technique, his wood release could also follow up. The more Yingshu watched, the more fascinated he became. Suddenly, a question arose in his mind. Where is the old man now? This question gave Yingshu a bad feeling, until he suddenly noticed a few symbols without any pattern, but they caught his attention. It seemed that they were designed for him. Yingshu deciphered these symbols, and his face suddenly changed. Boy, use your Sharingan, and look at the blank space at the end of the scroll. Yingshu's heartbeat quickened, and he did as he was told. Sure enough, he found a trace of chakra in the blank space on the last page of the scroll, which was outlined into a line, and the line became another line of words. Go find that tree. There, you will find the answer you want. Study hard and don't embarrass me, an old man. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid not finding it next time. Chapter 148 Now, facing the roots again. Seeing this, Iki felt a little depressed. He knew where the tree was, the place where the old man had tried to scam him and Obito. At that time, the old man had put on a sad drama, and he had made up a lot of things in his mind. Iki let out a breath. He probably knew something. After putting on his clothes, Iki went to the door, changed his shoes, and prepared to go out. But his feet seemed to have grown longer. He should have changed his shoes before leaving Konoha, but he was reluctant to buy them, and after taking them off, he wanted to put them on again, but he couldn't put them on. This made Iki inexplicably irritated. Fuck. He simply exerted force and pulled the back of his shoes off, wearing them as slippers. The shoe on his left foot was successfully changed from a ninja tabi to a simple slipper. But he used too much force on the shoe on his right foot, and a piece of the entire heel was pulled off. Iki was too lazy to bother with it anymore, so he put it on and went out. Now he just wanted to get to that place and see what the old man had left for him, what he had left behind. The discomfort in his feet made Iki even more annoyed. The last time he was so annoyed, it was because Obito risked catching a Kune with his face, walking on the streets of Konoha. I don't know if it's because of my bad mood or some other reason. This familiar thing made him feel a little bored. It has been almost 6 years since he traveled through time, and the things around him no longer have the freshness of those years. The destination is training ground number 3. It's not far from his home, just a few blocks away. Yingshu couldn't help but quicken his pace. But before he reached his destination, Yingshu suddenly discovered that there were several figures secretly following him. They will attack me sooner. Somehow, Yingshu suddenly had such an idea in his mind. He thought those people who followed him were bad guys from the route, showed a knife to him, and asked him to cooperate in the investigation of the route. And he, in the process of refusing, once again vented his strength. Well, just like last night. The blood on the body may be washed away by water escape, but the evil spirit in the heart has not been washed away by time. Iki walked forward with his head down, even though he had already imagined himself on a killing spree in Konoha. Iki had used his imagination to press his enemies to the ground and rub them with his mind before. But today, it was especially bloody. Iki himself did not notice that something was wrong with him. However, the pedestrians in front of him ran away in panic, and then 2 groups of 6 ninjas appeared in front of and behind Iki. They wore masks, had a fierce and cold aura, and on the masks were special root patterns. Well, his imagination had become a prophecy. What for? Iki said in a cold tone. Several roots didn't show their swords as he imagined, but they did say something close to that. Chunin Iki, come with me, you. I'm a jonin now. Iki raised his head and found that the average height of the ninjas opposite him was 1.7 meters. He also found that he liked the feeling of looking down on others. The root was silent for a moment. You are suspected of murdering Konoha ninjas. Bang. Before the root finished speaking, Iki kicked him in the face. The root flew backwards on the spot, and a footprint was left on his mask, which then burned on the root's face. Warm reminder, if you think this book is good, please remember to add it to your bookshelf to avoid being unable to find it next time. Don't get involved, come on if you want to. That guy, he was about 6 years old. Just after graduating, the root came to his door, and he refused. Not long after, the 3 of them were beaten by their master's wife, and had to hide outside Konoha. After a lot of effort, he took down a Kumogakure ninja, but was blocked by the root again when he returned to Konoha. That time, it was Minato and Kushina who rushed in time, so he escaped again. Not long after, a root with 9 young men surrounded him in the training ground. If it weren't for his miracle of strength, he barely used a water dragon bullet and ran away. He would have been the ace killer of the root by now. He escaped again and again, and Danzo forced him again and again. Weakness is the original sin, and he had nothing to say. Later, he awakened Jiga. Jiga stood up, and Danzo became obedient, and he never troubled him for several days. Yingshu thought that after Tsunade taught him medical ninjutsu, Danzo would give up on him completely. But he didn't expect it. Come on. Come together. Capture me and take me back for investigation. Yingshu suppressed irritability all the way burst out, and the black chakra reappeared around him. The burst of momentum even cracked the concrete floor. In his eyes, 3 Magatama slowly rotated. A bloody red. And at this moment, the Hokage's office. With a helpless sigh, Sarutobi Hirozen looked at Minato in front of him. You go there in person. The child needs to calm down now. Yes. Minato responded with a complicated expression, and then nodded to the half-mummified Danzo beside him, and then he flashed and left quickly. Yes, when he just arrived at the Hokage's office, and saw the elder Danzo, Minato felt that something big would happen. But he never thought that it would be so big. After solving the 6 routes in 7 seconds, Iki continued to move towards his destination. But the moment he opened his Sharingan, the strange feeling that he could only occasionally detect in the past was so clear. Yingshu frowned. He knew that his every move was probably being watched by Sarutobi Hiruzen. He quickly assessed the consequences of his actions. Under the label of Uchiha, he beat up the forces belonging to the senior officials of Konoha. But because he is Minato's disciple and Tsuna's last disciple, strictly speaking he is one rank below the Hokage, combined with Sarutobi Hiruzen's attitude towards Uchiha. The conclusion is, it is not a big problem, and showing off one's strength appropriately can increase one's bargaining chips. But no matter what, Yingshu would never let everything of the Senju clan be exposed to Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes. Therefore, when passing through an alley, Yingshu, while disrupting his own chakra, directly cast a seal to summon a dozen shadow clones. The shadow clones dispersed, and his original body, after making sure that the gaze had disappeared, went to the number 3 training ground in person. Many hours have passed. This place is basically the same as when it was a dog. The half of the tree that was a dog is not so conspicuous at this moment. Someone trimmed the tree and polished it to use it as a wooden block. A boy about 10 years old, wearing a forehead protector, who should be a young genin who just graduated, was sitting on it and smoking. Yingshu walked over, his face stern, and his cold aura scared people so much that they dared not move. Early development has its benefits. Get out of the way, I want this place. Warm reminder, in order to facilitate everyone's book selection, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. Chapter 149 The Old Man's Detonating Talisman. You little kid, you don't learn well, and you still smoke. You can't get hard when you're 10 years old, don't you know that? Get lost. Iki felt relieved. It's a pity that the kid wasn't a sumo, otherwise he could bully him again. After everyone left, Iki sat on the wooden stool, not in a hurry to look for it, but recalled every detail here. That day, he and Obito skipped class for the first time. Obito thought he had learned the Great Fireball and wanted to compete with him, so he showed him the Rasengan. Then, the tree broke, the old man came, and he was scammed. Then, they were almost beaten by Uchiha Wakaba's brother. The old man asked him, "What is your dream?" Dream. Yingshu raised his head. His dream was to make the world nuclear. He wanted to make a big hydrogen balloon and explode wherever he was unhappy. It was going to explode anyway, so he didn't think it mattered whether it was nuclear or not. Slowly, he became stronger. The blood of the Senju clan was destined to make his development period fast and fierce. Beat up Kumogakure, compete with the Kirigakure spies, exploded in the Chunin exam, and showed off at the border of the Land of Fire. Then he learned medical ninjutsu, and his ninjutsu covered the 7 ninja swordsmen, forced back the old Madara, and even fought with the 5 tails Jinchuriki. Then last night, Kamoshibashi was killing people indiscriminately. He is not even 11 years old this year, and he will be 11 in 2 months. He has been traveling here for almost 6 years. He has his own ties, and has experienced blood and fire. And now, if you ask him about the word dream again, of course it is still the nuclear power of the ninja world. Not only does he want to build a big hydrogen balloon, he also wants to master dust escape and manipulate chakra to the atomic level. He hypnotizes himself every day. Nuclear fusion, nuclear fusion, nuclear fusion. If you don't agree, come and blow it up. Who is afraid of whose grandson? Thinking of this, Yingshu smiled. But his smile stopped soon. Reason told him, you must have waited for so long. If the old man was still here, he would have appeared a long time ago. But Yingshu just wanted to wait a little longer. Even if he knew, Sarutobi Hiruzen's gaze would soon find this place. Ah. Don't worry, old man. Although I don't know your name. Don't worry, grandpa. Complex gazes and complex hearts. Yingshu tried to use the chakra introduction theory he had just learned, that is, the introduction to the earth technique, to spread the chakra underground. Failed. He took off his shoes, showed his Sharingan, and continued to try. This time, it succeeded. He felt that, as long as he moved his feet, he could use any earth escape ninjutsu at will on this small piece of ground under his feet. Identify chakra with the earth, and every move is the power of the earth. This is the earth technique. And Yingshu also quickly felt a box hidden under the wooden block. The feeling was very clear, and Yingshu estimated that even the Byakugan would not be more than this. Using the earth technique to control the soil, Yingshu quickly took the box out of the ground. In the past, he would choose to call a shadow clone to open it, but this time, he still called. The old man taught him that he should never be careless at any time. The greatest weapon of a ninja is the weakness of human nature. It hasn't been opened yet. The shadow clone's Sharingan detected the abnormality. There was a crackling sound, and it was a detonating tag. But judging from the sound, it should be the worst of the 500 TL level. TUI. The shadow clone Yingshu spit out 1,000 saliva and accurately ended the detonation of the detonating tag. Then, he gave it to Iki. Warm reminder, in order to facilitate everyone's book selection, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. Iki took it, and took a look. Lying inside, there were actually several photos and a small container. The detonating tag was between the photos and the small container. If he didn't react, and had to throw it away quickly, the things inside would be destroyed. Faintly, Iki felt that his shoulder seemed to be patted. Iki, calm down. Don't run anymore. It's me. I'm Teacher Minato. On the rooftops of Konoha, Minato chased Iki all the way. Shadow bodies have a sense of mission. To clear the way, explore traps, resist explosions and delay time, the main body must be comfortable. Speak louder, I can't hear you. Iki ran all the way. Although he was a shadow body, his chakra was half of Kakashi. Shadow bodies ran wildly regardless of the cost, just to buy time. Minato sighed. Don't blame me, Iki. Whoosh. A golden flash. Transformation. Minato's speed is not just his flying thunder god. His instant body technique was also praised by the second generation Hokage. Iki is indeed very fast. The upper limit of a 6th rate player determines how high the professional quality of this 6th rate player is. Obviously, when it comes to speed, Minato is professional. It's just the blink of an eye. The shadow body was about to turn around and make a face, but suddenly saw Minato's face zooming in. Oh shit. He's in trouble. Iki instinctively reached into his ninja tool bag, but then he realized that he was just a shadow body and there was nothing in his pocket. Damn. The shadow body was very depressed, but in just a moment, his shoulder was held down by Minato. Stop it, Iki. This time, it's not just the group that's looking for you. Puff, the shadow body disappeared. Ah, this. Minato's expression was full of surprise, and his eyes. Well done, kid. But, Minato's heart was tangled. Iki did the wrong thing. As a teacher, he believed in Iki, unconditionally. He believed there was a misunderstanding. Maybe it was a mistake. Even if it was true, Iki might just have done it unintentionally. But, for now, the evidence is irrefutable. Minato exhaled. Go find Kushina or Tsunade-sama quickly, Iki. At this moment, in the Hokage building. Hand him over to the root, Sarutobi. The root can take care of the rest of the related matters on his behalf, and you can give Uchiha some compensation later. It's easy to suppress this matter. Shimura Danzo's tone was still so cold, but Sarutobi Hiruzen heard a sense of relief. This old man. At this juncture, what are you thinking? Early morning on the 1st. A figure appeared at the gate of Konoha. It was suspected to be Uchiha Wakaha, a member of the Uchiha clan who had been missing for more than a year after the Chunin exam. When the Konoha guard ninja found him, he was already dying, with scars all over his body, especially his hollow eyes dripping with blood, which was even more shocking. His eyes were dug out. The medical ninjas of Konoha Hospital treated him overnight, but they were still powerless. The last words left by Uchiha Wakaha were just one sentence. It's such a Hariki. It's such a Hariki. It's such a Hariki. Warm reminder, if you can't find it by searching the book title, you can try searching the author. Maybe he just changed his name. Chapter 150 Kaleidoscope, open. Huh. Yingshu let out a breath. The 4 photos gave him a rough idea of what happened. Why could he have the Uchiha and Senju bloodlines at the same time, and why there was an old man whose ab was not drawn. In fact, when Yingshu saw the box, he took it in his own hands, instead of the old man smiling and slapping him on the head, and then throwing it to him. What's the matter with life experience? I don't want it anymore. I don't know why. Yingshu suddenly felt his nose a little sour. He raised his head and looked at the not so glaring sun. Something seemed to have fallen from the corner of his eye. Feeling a little embarrassed, Yingshu wiped his face. But he found it sticky. Yingshu smiled self-deprecatingly. A tough man doesn't shed tears. What falls is all essence. Goodbye, old man. The glory of the Senju clan. Suddenly, a faint smell of blood, accompanied by a slight stinging in his eyes, made Yingshu stunned. He looked at his hands. Wow. A piece of red. Yingshu was about to make a seal, to let the shadow clone see what was going on without saying a word. But the chakra had just been mobilized, and the sudden information from his brain made him freeze in place. There was no sound, no text, very abstract, but very clear. It was like an ancient poem he had memorized in elementary school. No one told him in his ear, but he just remembered it now. Just knew it. Transformation, or rather, transformation and change. It is a pupil technique. It comes from his left eye and right eye respectively. Left eye, blood transformation. Yingshu didn't know how to describe the abstract information, but he knew that the information roughly gave him the meaning. Senju and Uchiha. He seemed to be able to transform the Senju clan's vigorous energy, vigorous chakra, and even vitality into Sharingan, into the pupil power of these two main Jiki. He can also transform pupil power into his vitality, physical strength, instantaneous power, and other physical energies. Like the transformation between yin and yang, it is another way to express the fusion of the Senju and Uchiha bloodlines. Without the power of the Tao, the two powers can also be compatible. You can also walk out of another path to everything in the world. Next is the right eye. This is a bit complicated. Yingshu was stunned for a full minute before he roughly figured out what was going on. It is said that the eye technique should be one of his instincts. It sounds a bit strange if you don't understand your own instincts. In fact, it is like this. It is too complicated. Right eye technique can be transformed. The whole process is the transformation of technique and energy, but in the ninja world, energy is basically linked to chakra, so it can also be called the transformation of technique and chakra. It is also limited to the transformation of technique and chakra. His right eye can transform one's field of vision and one's technique, that changes with chakra into the most primitive chakra. And this process is irreversible, unless he activates the right eye's eye technique again. Yingshu suddenly thought of something he had said before. Your ninjutsu belongs to me. That's what he meant. The two eye techniques are not completely the same, and the eye power consumption is also very different. The left eye has almost no power, because once it is activated, it either consumes eye power to replenish physical strength and become a little Superman, or consumes physical strength to replenish eye power and become a magic god. The right eye technique requires the use of the pupil power, which is ridiculous. Warm reminder, the problem of logged-in users saving bookshelves across devices has been corrected. If you still cannot save, please remember the contents of the bookshelf first, clear the cookies of the browser, and then log in again, and add it to the bookshelf. To start, it must be the amount of chakra required for the target ninjutsu. Yingshu is not sure about the conversion in the middle, but what he knows is that it must be a lot. The above is the ability of his two eyes. Of course, there is also the natural skill he has been thinking about, Susanoo. But Yingshu did not try. He fell into endless contemplation. Why not nuclear fusion and nuclear fission? Isn't the opening of the kaleidoscope what people desire most in their hearts? Yingshu can be sure. What he wanted most were these two abilities, to achieve nuclear peace wherever he looked. However, he thought hard for a long time, and concluded that it was destined. Yingshu realized that the opening of the main Gekyo was indeed related to human emotions, and it should be the strongest emotion at the moment of opening. The old man's death made him a little sad. Even the Senju clan, with such a strong vitality, could not escape the aging fragments in the cell DNA, and would eventually die. Yingshu even suspected that, if he hadn't hypnotized himself every night, would his two eyes have directly nested with each other. The pupil power of the left eye was transformed into chakra, transformed into vitality, and the Uchiha became a Senju. The left eye is the opposite. The Senju incarnates Uchiha. His jutsu can be transformed directly. That's good. At least I don't have to worry about not having enough pupil power. Yingshu raised his eyebrows. The ability of the left eye seems to have no substantial offensive power, but it solves a fundamental problem. That is the transformation of the manger key in the nearsighted or even blind. Now, he can use the Senju clan's vast chakra as support and use Yang escape to replace Yin escape. If it doesn't work, he can also try Hashirama cells. Just treat them as consumables and don't deduct his own vitality. Are you done? At this time, the shadow clone who had completed the seal asked. Iki spread his hands. Come on. Water style. Face washing water bowl jutsu. Wow. Iki washed his face. As luck would have it, it was when he washed his face. The gaze he sensed appeared again. At the same time, there appeared a dozen cold and powerful auras, and they had to be Jonin at the beginning. Of course, they all wore masks of the roots, and once they appeared, they had no intention of opening their mouths to spit out the liquid. They pulled their hair out on the spot and slowly approached. Iki, who had calmed down, put the remaining small bottles in his arms. He finally realized that something was wrong. No matter how shameless Denzo was, he would not do this. And there was also Sarutobi Hiruzen staring at him. Unless. Two old guys, are you targeting me together? Yingshu frowned. Just because he opened the Uchiha's Sharingan? The key is that the Uchiha hasn't contacted him yet. The current Uchiha's main force is supposed to be on the battlefield. Yingshu remembered clearly that it was only a little more than 2 hours away from that day. Little Shizu probably has already made a name for himself on the battlefield, and Itachi probably has begun to think about the meaning of life. But there was only this one person, and he had just returned to Konoha, and the Uchiha hadn't added him to the family tree yet. The two old guys couldn't stand it. Yingshu raised his head abruptly, and his eyes looked at the direction accurately. Snap. In the Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen dropped his smoke gun in shock. How could the Iki and the crystal ball not be a domineering one? Question mark? Huh. Shimura Danzo snorted coldly. Sarutobi Hiruzen was stunned for a long time. He suddenly felt that the cute little Iki who used to be so sweet to his grandfather was a little strange. Warm reminder, in order to facilitate everyone's book selection, the ranking page of the website has been optimized. You can try it. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.